Hey, Fang. Roblox. What's up? Fang. Up here. The cat was making it nearly impossible to set up a tripod. Okay, there we go. The cat's being difficult.
Just trolling. In February 2014, during the approach of a storm Ruth in southern England, a peculiar sighting occurred, reported by a 25-year-old student traveling by train back to London after visiting his parents. The student, whose identity remains anonymous,
Roblox, I'm
was
gonna ask you to
returning home
chill on
from
the it's a
visiting
gay
his
jokes
parents in a small town in southern England. Concerned about the
while
potential
while
cancellation of
endearing
flights
as they
due
might
to
be.
flooding and impending storm,
They
he
alienate some
decided to
people.
head back earlier than planned. The journey began by
See Roblox. That's the
the
problem.
train moving slowly due to the flooded landscape.
It invites
As the
people
circumstances said, the
that
student
then
drifted
make
in
really
and out
weird
of
fucking
sleep.
statements. Roblox,
At
you're the
some
mod.
point
Do
in
something
the
about this
journey,
guy.
the student awoke to a shocking
Mod
sight.
this guy.
Through the window on his left, he saw a massive figure running through the waterlogged fields. The figure was about 3 meters tall, with water reaching its knees. Initially, the student thought he was hallucinating, but as the creature approached the slow moving train, he realized it was something far more unusual. As the creature drew closer, the student could see that it was fully
Intellective
covered in
hours
hair,
101.
except for
The
its
fuck?
bald
I'm
face
telling you, bro.
and chest.
He's weird, bro.
Its eyes were reminiscent of a gorilla's, but it had long
Roblox,
ears like a wolf
you're a
and
mod.
short
If you
white
didn't know
horns.
that, you can
The
totally like
student
do
described the
shit.
creature's appearance as monstrous, more likely a troll from a fairy tale than an abnormally tall human. The creature's presence was both surreal and terrifying. The student, though, wasn't the only one who saw the creature. He spoke with a young boy and his mother who had also witnessed the bizarre entity. Although he didn't provide details of their conversation, the fact that he mentioned talking to them implies that they confirmed seeing the same thing. The train had few passengers that day, likely due to the weather
Mod
conditions,
powers.
which may explain why more people didn't report the sighting. Lanky Lagomorph Lurker. So this account comes from El Bene,
Oh
who
shit, he's gonna
submitted
battle me
a
with all his
unique
strength.
and
That means he's
unsettling
gotten stronger.
report to the West Virginia Ghost website on October 1st, 2016. In her account, she detailed an experience with a group
Ain't
of
no
friends
way
while
that
they were
real
exploring
Roblox
creek
saying that.
beds
Oh
in
my
South
god.
Carolina. Her friends had previously shared similar stories.
Question: do you guys want me to have the scary story in the background?
Arrived at the creek bed, which was concealed in a low valley by rocky embankments. As the picture further describes the image 5
Scream Will Never Be Heard, like scary movie. Level 65? He's not that much lower than me. Damn, that fucked me up. Damn, what? That did a lot of damage. What the fuck was that? If he hits us with one more of those, it's over. So I really like this. The graphics of this game and everything that's happening, I really like it. Like this part of the game they made better than the original, but then the rest of the game they dropped the balls. It's so fucking weird. I should have used the fucking stealth rocks. Would you rather have infinite game but no game, or no game but infinite game? I think the first one. I'd rather have the first one. Damn, bro, this actually looks cool. I know this game. I know the everybody hates the Diamond and Pearl remakes, because I do too, because they're not as good as Pokemon Platinum. But Abdul, get the rocks. The degenerates are at the door again. No, but the game is actually really cool. It is cool, but when I compare it to the original Platinum, it's just not cool. At the same time, the battle animations and all this stuff, this is super dope. Roblox. Have you ever seen like a ghost or anything like that in your life? Like, have you ever experienced anything paranormal or out of the ordinary? Damn! He almost one-shotted me. Yes, and I don't think I can say that word out loud on YouTube. And self-deletion. Tell me about your ghost paranormal experience. Hentai hero. I know my Pokemon names are great. Yes, it is the real Torb himself. I'm Torb God, but I need to be playing a lot more Torb to retain the title of Torb God. I will. Tomorrow, Overwatch. I'm a Torb God the shit out of it, even if I lose all the way back to bronze. Yeah, I started a tradition of calling all my Pokemon main character guys Ass Guy. I used to call them all Agfu. Like, I think I still do most of the time when it's a personal game and it's not like a do-over. But on the games that are like side games or I don't care about as much, Ask Guy. But I think I've been naming everything Ask Guy lately for like every game now. Big Big Hammer. That's a good name. Mood Swings Flamethrower. Oh, she has a scissor? Yo, I love scissor. It's going down. Oh, what the? Okay, that makes sense. Its defenses are shit, or its special defense is shit. Oh, you got one more? Not yet. We'll keep struggling until the very end. I mean, he's brave for having a bug type team. I have nothing that's super effective against him. That's kind of crazy. What? Okay, that doesn't really count. Via shout, I was like, hey, move out of the way, and the fucking move, that doesn't really count. A bug's life force. Life force is nothing to it. What is it? I don't use full restores or items in battle. That's childish. Yeah, just wasting time, baby. You know you're going down. This is the team of Pokemon I used to beat the Elite Four, that's why I'm doing it again. The Elite Four rematch. AK-47, I choose you, bro. If I play another Pokemon game and we start over again, or I start over again, I'm so naming that fucking starter AK-47. Thanks. ¿Qué es esa monita? Esa chiquita nadie. No, Nina, no. Don't worry about the fireworks. Aaron was easy. Today I think Navi. The fireworks trigger her. Hey, cochina de mierda, ya cállese, ya. No lay down. The only thing that held them back from winning was my own weakness. This guy's legit. He is cool for saying that. He is legit. Kilala, no. Roblox is getting asked a question. He's a hero. Oh. It doesn't lag if you're playing on PC, apparently. Roblox doesn't have performance issues all the time, okay? Just every now and then. Every now and then he can perform. Well, well, I see you've returned, my dear child. It looks like though you've grown more confident since last time we met. But don't forget, with age comes the power to shake the earth and the force will that can split the ground beneath your feet. Ah ha 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 ha. Let this shit. Let this old lady show you what a little life experience can do. Hey, the fact she's still Elite Foreign out here. And she looks straight up geriatric. She only has 5 Pokemon, the last guy had 6. Boy, I'm the one that's weak to ground type moves. Nothing can stop your mom. Oh crap. Kilala. Don't be rude. Come way down. Come way down, keep it like me. Tensei Hero leveled up. They can't handle your mom. X scissor? Oh shit. I think we're gonna switch out your mom. Go! Go on, water sleep! Damn, bro. Suck on this waterfall. Oh, damn! That future sight was spot on. I should have switched them. Damn. It barely hung on so I wouldn't feel sad. That's adorable. I'm a little shocked that that thing is faster than me. Oh, this fucking guy. I don't know what I just read in the chat, but that's fucking disturbingly funny. Hippo Dome. We're gonna play it safe with Ice Cream. Be careful there, Roblox is mod. He can put your time out there, bud. I gave him too much power. I was messing around. We don't really have too many rules. Just don't, I guess, no crazy spamming. No saying the N word. Absolutely not allowed. No crazy radical political, too much, you know, on either end, left or right. Nothing too far or hateful. And no saying weird shit like that last guy. Like you can say shit, obviously, but that one guy, with the kids question, that dude is weird. Like I get edgy, being edgy is cool when you're young. I totally get it, but like no, that's weird. Yes. You gotta like the live stream and heart it in order for Roblox to answer my questions. Too much power can break a man. That's fucking hilarious, dude. That's so funny. You've been warmed up because here comes the Big Bang. Alright, kind of weird thing to tell me. Come on out, Changay. Changay is about to destroy. Si no me equivoco, el número es 6 en un poco más pequeño, pero si no, thumbs down. He's saying, if I'm not mistaken, the number is 6, and in a little while, a little bit, pero, but if not, thumbs down me. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how to put that in English. Uh-oh. Okay, now we have an issue. Kilala, don't be rude. Fuck. Fuckaroo. Fuck. Fuck, no. Wow, the computer just did that to me. The computer just totally screwed my entire plan. I'm a little disappointed in myself that the computer just did that to me. Braxton, what's up? Alright, time to hit this asshole hard. 71? He's the same level as me. Okay, let's go. Oh, this fucking dude. Damn, just because he burned me. Oh my god. This is so stupid. I can't believe he's actually putting the work on me. Okay, my Pokemon just healed itself. Alright, that's cool. Oh, so he's just gonna fucking do it again. Alright. Oh my god, he is just really trying to keep this Flareon alive. This fucking guy. You got unbanned? Sweet. I didn't know you were banned, Braxton. Try not to be so controversial, Braxton. Oh, blocks for it. We got banned from Roblox. Thunder Punch. Holy moly. Case bringing the game, bro. Thunder Punch? I did not expect that. We both use close combat, but he's faster, so he beat me. No! Thatch punch! This fucker. Oh my gosh, the thing was like unstoppable. Uh-oh. Holy shit. Yo, he's taking out my entire team. Oh, I should have not used flame charge. That was stupid. Whooper, what's up? That Infernate wasn't full throttle. Holy shit. Holy shit. He just beat me. I'm shocked. I can't believe I lost. I thought I was gonna do it in one shot. I actually had trouble defeating him because I was doing a shiny only run. Bro, a shiny only run, that sounds like that would take forever. Unless you like traded shiny Pokemon or hacked them in. I did not expect his Infernape to be so strong and have a Focus Sash. The nurse is not a Pokemon. Who make the nurse laugh and giggle? Bebes PC. Torchic is evolving. And he had a child that is half Pokemon, half human. How- Where is the source? Your source better not be trust me. I know a guy. Its kicking mastery lets it lose. It lets it lose 10 kicks per second. It emits a sharp cry to intimidate its foes. Search game theory, Pokemon. Oh, game theory like the old MatPat one. I think I have to take it to the nickname house for it to have nicknames. Itachi. Let's see what we nickname these guys real quick. He needs a nickname. Corona. Male stripper. Sloot. Lil fuck. That's gross. Thick mouse. Machop. Gay crow. Lady period. Magneton. Cricket thought. Stan. Chirap. Magic shrooms. Help me, I'm on fire. Cleffa. Nat Geo dude. Butterfree 2. Bulbasaur. Dildo flower. Eating the sword. High trash. Trouser snake. Combustion. No reason. Jirachi. Hog.exe. Not so magni. Kilala. Munchlax. LGBTQ+. King Cuddy. Gold Digger. Lacey High. Lacey and High. Punani. Genderless. Charmander. I'm not gonna read that. Dratini. Pooper. Badoo. No Chance Way. Men. Asura Seraph. High AF. Never Use. Kill Me Please. Meditite. Neo Tokyo. Tentalane. Gay Sally. Sloop Tank. Lieutenant Pants. Drug pusher. Time ball. Gay bird. Gasper. Hens and calves. Munchlax. Okay, that's just repeated. Kilala, gosh, your beautiful face, Kilala. Obama Snow, Ching Bling, Cha TikTok, Wife Sharing, Kenta Gay, I'm Drunk F Me, Glory Hole, Ass Elf, Sprite Soda, Ratiti, Barbara, Backdoor Bird, I'm not gonna read that, Bonerhorn, Rock Dillhorn, that's a pretty good name. Oh my god, that's a really good name. Rock Dillhorn? Oh, bro. That is a really good name. Busta Nut Cow, Baby Burger, Fahrenheit 152, Sugma, Big AF Bat, It's a Three-Way, Cacturn, MF Gloom, rest in peace, Fleshlight, there you go. Kilala, gosh. Kilala, no. No, Kilala. Yes, come here. You're a baby cat. Come on. Come on. Kilala, come here. Come on. Come on, kitty. Okay, should we switch mood swings for Typhlosion? I'm debating it. Kind of debating it. Too much power and it'll corrupt you, Roblox. You must, you know what I'm saying? On the channel. Too much power and you'll get corrupt, Roblox. We gotta keep you humble. I hunger the power. That's funny. Almost as funny as this ass whooping they're about to get. Think of the power. No, because you get more power now. What's next? You try to take over Poland? I don't think so, bro. Oh, what a juicy turd. Agree. No hunger and power. Just becoming stronger every day. Anti-hero's gonna have to take care of this. I can't get smoked by the bug guy. That'll be humiliating. What? It's faster than me? Get out of here with that nonsense.
Formidable wings had above 6 feet and featured distinctive physical characteristics like a large beak and sharp claws, similar to those of prehistoric pterosaurs. However, the brief encounter provided little opportunity for detailed observation, as the creature took flight almost immediately upon their arrival, disappearing from sight. There are of course lack of specific details though, like the exact location of the game, along with the
absence of photographic evidence casts a shadow of doubt over the encounter. Critics argue that the creature could have been a misidentified large bird native to the region, known for their significant wingspans and occasionally unusual appearances. The notion of a one-day pterosaur sighting lacks information or consistent theory in zoology that suggests surviving pockets of prehistoric creatures.
Oh wow.
Such claims are often not skepticism, though, due to a lack of verifiable evidence and the challenges posed by what would be an extraordinary survival of a species thought extinct for millions of years.
Oh,
Tensei
that's
raises
fucking whack.
questions about the influence of culture and media on the perception of unexplained phenomena. Global walrus of Henderson Island. In December of 1983, an incident was reported by a group of fishermen and surveyors near Henderson Island, located off the coast of Puget Sound. This event, detailed in its account of daily pleasure on July 3rd of that year, described an encounter with horses and steam that had mechanical and biological characteristics. The group was
Again? Oh
engaged in a
wow.
routine fishing expedition when they suddenly experienced an unusual auditory and visual phenomenon. A loud, unexplainable noise was accompanied by a surge of electricity and water, followed by the emergence of intense red lights. This disturbance in the quiet waters near Henderson Island immediately caught the attention of the fishermen and surveyors present. As they observed, a massive creature described as being about 150 feet long and 30 feet wide and as thick as a rope emerged from the depths. The creature's head was notably large, resembling the shape of a walrus's head, though much larger in scale. It had six large, dull eyes that added to its unusual whiteness, and notably, the creature seemed to be encircled by copper bands, which were speculated to emit electrical shocks that rendered two men from the group senseless upon contact with the water. And further adding to the mystery, the creature exhibited features that seemed uncharacteristic of any known biological entity. It expelled electrified water from core-like protuberances on its head and possessed what appeared to be a mechanical propeller instead of a tail. This propeller-like appendage suggested some form of engineered mobility. The spectacle didn't really last long either, and the creature soon dove back beneath the water's surface, though the glow from its body remained visible for some time afterward. This led to intense speculation among the witnesses and later among those who had studied the accounts of the incident. One
Dang it, that's not good.
cryptozoologist proposed that the so-called Henderson Island monster might actually be an unidentified submersible object, perhaps a form of technologically advanced machinery that far predated any known human inventions capable of such displays. The idea that such an invention from the 16th or 19th century opens a lot of questions about its origin. Questions like, was it an experimental military device, a piece of forgotten technology, or something else entirely? The debate over the nature of the rainbow walrus of Henderson Islands continues to interest researchers, though, historians and cryptozoologists alike. Stung by specks. In 1959, a downbeat block wall embarked on an experimental exploration of the coast of Miami Beach, Florida. Bob Wall, an experienced diver, was guiding tourists aboard the glass-bottomed boat Comrade II, showing them the labyrinthine roots beneath the ocean surface. During this tour, Wall spotted a sea cave that piqued his curiosity. With the tourist safely from the boat, Wall decided to investigate the cave's contents, expecting perhaps to find a rich variety of marine life or unusual geological formations. Upon entering the dark, shadowy expanse of the cave, though, Wall was confronted by a weird creature that seemed from prehistoric times or from the pages of a science fiction novel. The creature he described was unlike anything marine life observed in the region. It possessed a cylindrical body about 5.5 meters in length, supported by 8 long hairy legs, each extending about 3 feet. And it also featured a pointed head with short antennae and notably large stalked eyes that had round spots, each about 2 inches in diameter, which earned the creature the nickname Specs. The encounter then took a turn though as Specs began to advance toward Wall. Feeling threatened by the creature's approach, Wall made the decision to retreat. He swiftly exited the cave and returned to the safety of his tour group, leaving research behind in the dark waters of the cave. Dr. Paul Schucker, a well-known figure in the field of cryptozoology, speculated that the creature could be an unusually large specimen of the Caribbean spiny lobster, which inhabits nearby waters. However, the size described by Wall was significantly larger than typical for this species, which rarely exceeds 2 feet in length. Alternative theories propose that the creature might be related to the Japanese spider crab, the only known crustacean to reach the lengths described, and this species is native to waters far from Florida, near Japan. The suggestion that specs might be a previously undiscovered species were rare to them and often has also been floated by
Ah,
enthusiasts and
stupid of me.
researchers.
Holy shit.
Hazozoids, a weird tale from Devil Swamp. In an event dated June 8, 2000, at the sinister sounding Devil Swamp in Louisiana, an encounter unfolded at the crack of dawn. As morning mist cleared at about 6:30 a.m., Roger Mixon, a 41-year-old local hunter, noticed an unusual object resting in a clearing near the swamp. The object was immense, about
Yo, did the
shape
bug guy
of
just beat me?
measuring
What
about
is
70 to
happening?
80 feet in length. His presence alone would have been enough to startle any onlooker, but what followed was even more
Did
astonishing.
the bug guy
A
just beat
rubber
me?
slate door on the object opened, revealing three humanoid figures that were observing the object, engaging what appeared to be an attempt to capture a local alligator. These beings were unordinary, being that the dog would appear to be golden frogs and wore iron-like breastplates. Their human-like faces were offset by lion-like sharp teeth and long hair, and it's said that each creature also had a scorpion-like tail and four wing-like protrusions, a detail that sort of ties their description to the ancient Mesopotamian winged demon Pazuzu, known for its hybrid and terrifying form. As Mixon watched, hidden among the foliage, the situation escalated quickly. One of the creatures noticed him, and in a startling display of interspecies interaction, he reflexively fired his 12-gauge shotgun. The shot hit one of the
Wow, I
beings
just
in the
lost
chest,
with the
but
tits.
astonishingly it appeared unharmed. In retaliation, the creature used the device attached to its waist, emitting a beam-like light that struck Mixon on the wrist, leaving a permanent scar and significantly impairing the use of his arm. The creatures then ascended into their craft, which closed swiftly and departed at an incredible speed, leaving Mixon both physically injured and mentally shaken. This incident marked the last time Mixon ventured into those woods, in memory of them morning haunting him perpetually. And this account first surfaced on Long Strickler's Phantoms and Monsters website, derived from an older source known as UFO Watch, which remains elusive in mainstream research channels. The detailed matching of the creature's characteristics with those of Pazuzu suggests a possible influence from ancient demonology, perhaps a cultural memory or archetype manifesting in a modern encounter. Skeptics might argue that the story is a concoction or hallucination influenced by Mixon's familiarity with mythological or fictional representations of a demonic entity. Yet the physical evidence of the injury and the detailed account adds some complexity to the dismissal of the story as mere fabrication. Argo Lito, the Go-Ahead Story. In the Yaqui village of Turi in Sonora, Mexico, the local woman named Augustina Metzi, many generations before Rosilio Moses was born. Rosario though would later write more capturing the events of Augustina's life, told to his grandmother when she was young. These stories included Augustina's experiences with disease epidemics, wars, and natural disasters. Yet
I
among
fucked up.
tales one stands out prominently, being the story of the Argodito, also known as Suruwaka or Suruwasa in Yaqui, a being similar to modern descriptions of extraterrestrial visitors. According to the lore, the Argolitos are beings from another world, capable of flying in the air at incredible speeds, often appearing as small lights with a distinctive bush sound. When near the ground, these beings are said to have long robes trailing from their glowing forms, which they carry over their shoulders. The Argolitos are considered the natural adversaries of the Sirpas, monstrous shapeshifters who were once humans transformed by committing great sins. The Sirpas are told to grow continually in size, living in caves until they become so large that they move into the sea, where many are said to reside. This narrative sets the stage for an encounter recounted by goat-herd Wood from Tony, which he claimed to have witnessed not long before Rosalio's grandmother's time. While he was tending his goats near Canyon Canyon, rumored to be haunted by a Sirpa that had once been a man named Thomas, transformed into a giant rattlesnake for marrying a close relative. According to local reports, a manifestation of the Sirpa was a woman in white frequently seen emerging from the canyon. One night, White observed a bright light descending into the canyon with a rope streaming behind it. Curious, he approached the edge and saw an armadillo fierce battle with the sunlight. The struggle lasted until dawn, culminating with the Argonauts completing this monstrous serpent. The Argonauts then proceeded to cut up the serpent's body, tying the pieces with its rope. After this, the Argonauts then noticed White. It approached them and offered to take him to its home world. White, perhaps recklessly, agreed and found himself transported across the cosmos to another planet. There, he was imprisoned alone for 3 days, during which he overheard the Argonauts' children inquiring if they could eat him. The Argonauts explained that White was the son-in-law of the rain, therefore suggesting some
Oh, how
significant
annoying.
or cryptid status. After 3 days, White was returned to Earth, left on a hill north of Turin. He made his way back to the village and recounted his experience, which Rosalie Moses' grandmother later confirmed as true. Dancing with witches. Mexico, known for its massive and artistic landscapes, an encounter unfolded that locals still recount with a mix of disbelief and fear. The event involved two young women, Steve and Andrew, who were cousins commonly known for their lively spirits and fondness for local gatherings. On this particular night, they were en route to a distant ranch to attend a party, a journey they embarked upon mounted on their trusty horses, traversing the rugged dirt paths that snake through the region. As they arrived at the party after nightfall, though, they quickly noticed two unusually attractive women standing aloof in the corner. These women were distinctly fair-haired and light-skinned, features that were
He's
features
probably
that were
gonna use that
exceptionally
hyper
rare for
potion
the area.
bullshit.
The young man wasted no time and soon found himself dancing with these enchanting strangers.
Or
And
former
during
store.
several
There you go.
dances, he felt
I guess
deciding
right.
it was time to head back home. The return journey began uneventfully under the cover of darkness. However, about 30 minutes into the ride, a bizarre and unsettling sight had confronted them. The very same women they had left behind at the party were now inexplicably with them on the same dirt road, walking in the moonlight. Confused but curious, Steve and Andrew halted their horses and approached the woman, only to watch in shock as the figures laughed briefly before vanishing into thin air right before their eyes. Shaken but compelled to investigate, Steve dismounted and called out into the darkness. In response, two large shining birds emerged, their forms as dark as the night sky itself. These birds, possessing an uncanny like wings, counted them up, thanking them for their dance earlier that evening. Then Steve instinctively drew his gun and fired at the birds. The bullets, though, had no effect, as the birds continued to circle above, typically laughing. In a final act of defiance or perhaps desperation, one of the birds swooped down and scratched Steve's face, a minor wound that did little to deter his resolve. The creatures eventually flew away, though, leaving the men bewildered and afraid.
New Sounds, the online music shop ranked #1 in customer service by Newsweek. Our team of musicians make it easy to afford your dream gear now, so you don't have to save for months or years. Just make a small first payment on your order, get your gear immediately, and pay the rest later. We offer 4, 6, 8, and 12 payment options with no interest ever. Plus, free shipping on every order. Join the community of musicians and creators who buy their gear from Sounds.
Yeah, the hard way.
Leaving the men bewildered and afraid. Salt Lake Fire Drake. In Utah, especially around Great Salt Lake, there's been multiple sightings of creatures that resemble pterosaurs. Among the most interesting of these accounts are tales from 1903 and 2001. In 1903, residents near Salisbury Island witnessed a massive creature that they described as a blend of fish, alligator, and rat. And then two hunters, Martin Gilbert and John Bear, observed this creature over several days. They described it as being at ease both in the air and water, suggesting an amphibious nature. The hunters estimate the creature's length at about 50 to 65 feet, with the head resembling that of an alligator and a body covered in heavy golden scales. The creature was also said to possess large, mallet wings extending as wide as 100 feet from tip to tip. This creature was also reported to have carried a horse in its jaws.
The Rogers' detailed observations contribute to a narrative that suggested that this
Send
creature
your
was a surviving relic of a bygone
winky
era,
little
possibly a
scissor.
pterosaur. Though it's important to note that their descriptions also align with depictions of dragons or other fantastical beasts. Then, in 2001, a similarly interesting account of when three children in Brownsville observed a large, winged creature that appeared to have been abandoned with some rope. This sighting was thoroughly investigated by Jonathan D. Whitcomb, a researcher specializing in long pterosaur sightings. The children described the creature's glow pulsing on and off, a phenomenon that seemed to agitate larger farm animals. This creature, referred to locally as the Grand Pterosaur, was also linked to the robin of Papua New Guinea, a cryptid described in similar terms. Whitcomb's investigation suggested that these children had witnessed an animal not recognized by current science, possibly a living pterosaur or similarly prehistoric creature that has somehow survived in secluded environments. And these sightings are also furthered by controversial petroglyph of the San Rafael sword, which some believe depicts a pterosaur. But while rock expert Frank Burns and others have suggested this interpretation might be influenced by pareidolia, the discussion still continues. Critics argue that the petroglyph does not depict a prehistoric creature, but rather a combination of more natural and recognizable features like humans or animals. Fire spirit of the Forensics. In 858 AD, the village of Capital Moncia near Bingen am Rhein in Germany began experiencing disturbances attributed to a poltergeist. The village, located at the gateway to the mountains of the Rhine Valley, witnessed events starting with stones thrown by unseen forces and knocking sounds on the walls of homes as if hammered. The disturbances then quickly escalated, with the NC involved engaging the villagers in conversation, revealing stolen items and sowing discord. The NC focused its malevolent attention though on one villager in particular. If all the
Probably the
relentlessly
strongest
starting
bug
fires in the building he entered,
fighter I've ever
this
played
forced him
against.
to relocate to the outskirts with the family. However, the harassment didn't stop there, being that the NC set fire to his crop stack in the fields. Blamed for the ongoing disturbances, the villager had tried by a ritual involving scalding hot iron to prove his innocence, which he did. Efforts around the village of this menacing spirit, though, involved priests in decorative remains, armed with holy relics and crosses. They attempted an exorcism in a house where the spirit was particularly active, using holy water and prayers. Nancy then responded aggressively, throwing stones that injured the clergyman. Also, the spirit claimed to have dominated a priest from the exorcism team by exposing the priest's secret relationship with the local bailiff's daughter, thereby shaming him and asserting its control. It claimed the priest and servant having been under his code during the sprinkling of holy water. The relentless attacks by the poltergeist then continued for 3
Lame.
years, during which he spoke openly to villagers, humiliating and terrifying them. And the entity's presence and activities led to the eventual destruction of Campo Monte by fire, leaving the village in ruins in 861. The exact location of this place, though, is lost to history, possibly existing under a different name or completely erased from the map. Dark Dumbo. So this one comes from a Reddit post, and a Reddit user named Mutually Awkward shared a story told by their father's girlfriend about an encounter with a weird SC in their apartment. Alone in her apartment and having fallen asleep in the living room with the lights on, she awoke late at night to a startling sight. There, floating in the air, was a humanoid creature with a childlike stature, but with a disproportionately large head and enormous ears, which flapped to hover. This NC, which she referred to as Dark Yellow due to its large ears, had a grin that paralyzed her with fear. This vision lasted only a few moments before the creature simply disappeared. Compounding her distress, she recounted other times where she experienced what felt like being choked by an unseen force during the night. These encounters suggest a possible case of sleep paralysis, which is a condition the witness is familiar with, though she insists that these experiences felt really different and more visceral than typical sleep paralysis episodes. And another plausible explanation they'll offer is a state of consciousness between wakefulness and sleep, where vivid hallucinations can occur. Chris's Broja. A recent encounter in northern Donna, Texas, brought a mysterious and unsettling figure into focus. Basically, a local man named Chris was driving to his brother's house around 9 p.m. along Val Verde and Minnesota roads. As he turned east on Minnesota Road and progressed about half a mile, an unexpected sight confronted him, being a figure in rags flying alongside his driver's side window. This entity, described by Chris as a female figure with long hair and ragged flowing clothing, seemed to inspect Chris closely, her face being obscured by her hair, which fluttered in the wind. Despite her keen observation, she didn't find what or who she was looking for in Chris's vehicle. After a tense few seconds, she simply veered away and disappeared into the night. This sighting adds to a growing number of reports involving feminine flying humanoids, especially those resembling the folklore entity known as Roja, which is commonly associated with witchcraft in Mexican and Siberian traditions. These creatures are often depicted in folklore as figures that are draped in dark, tattered robes, capable of flight, and sometimes engaged in malevolent activities. The incident on Minnesota Road also aligns with such descriptions, but leaves many questions unanswered about the intentions and origins of these beings. Questions like, is this an actual supernatural phenomenon, or merely a case of mistaken identity involving birds or other wildlife? And it might also be a collective cultural myth that took its place into public consciousness.
Upgrade your seating with our ergonomic adjustable height chair, perfect for the office and any occasion. These chairs offer ergonomic design for optimal comfort and posture support, adjustable height to suit your needs, and are available in many colors to complement any space. With shipping from our local warehouse for fast delivery, experience the difference in comfort and style today.
I think we're in trouble.
To public consciousness. The Agathon's visit. In the 13th century, an event occurred involving Turkish poet and thinker Mevlana and his wife Karahanti in their home in Konya, Turkey. This event was documented between 1207 and 1273 and describes a really interesting visitation. Karahanti reported that her husband Mevlana had an unusual encounter with 6 imposing men who appeared in their house through an anomalous door that manifested on an otherwise solid wall. These men, usually described as heroes, carried with them roses, which they presented to Mevlana before initiating a prayer session. After their prayers, these figures vanished just as mysteriously as they appeared, leaving no trace behind except for the roses they had brought. Kira, who was perhaps seeking validation of this strange visit, took the roses to a gardener. The gardener, upon inspecting the flowers, identified them as rare Indian roses, which added to the mystery since they were of exotic origin. This whole encounter has led some researchers of paranormal phenomena to speculate that the visitors might have been from Agartha, which was a legendary subterranean civilization thought to exist under the region of India. This theory suggests that these beings from Agartha are capable of interdimensional travel, appearing in our world from layers through portals and manifesting as dwarves. Despite this narrative, though, and the historical interest surrounding Mevlana, who is a revered figure, the claims of a connection to a lost civilization like Agartha are highly speculative and not supported by concrete evidence. Theories of such encounters often arise from a combination of folklore, cultural symbols, and the human propensity to find connections in unexplained phenomena. The Shin in the summer of 1990, Gregory Pauling and his friends experienced an unusual encounter near Elo in the Peak District. Basically, around 11:30 p.m., under the cloak of darkness, the group, armed with only a couple of torches, ventured out for a walk along the footpaths near the camping site. Their adventure led them across farm fields and towards a secluded ditch lined with high bushes, setting the stage for the experience. As they neared the ditch, the group, already jittered from trying to scare each other earlier, halted to decide who would cross first. It was at this moment they heard an unsettling noise coming from the other side of the ditch. Initially, it seemed to be just a sheep making noise, but there was something weird about the sound that made them uneasy. It appeared as though the sheep was articulating a word, although they couldn't determine what it was saying. Speculating that it might be a prank by someone hidden in the bushes, the group whispered among themselves. The absence of any further sounds, though, like laughter or movement, which would typically follow a prank, made the situation feel all the more sinister. The air was charged with tension, and after a few minutes of nervous waiting, they decided to retreat, slowly walking backward and keeping their eyes fixed fixed on the bush. Their retreat was hasted though when they heard the noise again. This time, it unmistakably sounded like the sheep was mockingly telling them to come back. The tone was sort of unnerving, almost as if daring them. Without
Damn,
hesitation,
that
they
bug guy
turned
fucked us
and ran
up.
back to their campsite with the eerie invitation echoing behind them as they fled. The next morning, curiosity got the better of them, and they returned to the site of what happened, only to find nothing out of the ordinary. No signs of disturbance, no indication of what might have caused the previous night's events. And added to the tale, a fellow forum user suggested a rather down-to-earth explanation for the event. They proposed that perhaps a distressed hiker, injured and hidden in the bushes, might have been trying to call out for help. This theory was also added by the user's own experience of being injured and not noticed by nearby sheep while hiking. Dogmen for the UFO. In early June 2016 in southern New York, an event occurred involving three friends, Jamie, Dan, and another unnamed individual during a camping trip on a mountain. The group, unsure of the legality of the camping spot, settled down for a night outdoors equipped with a tent and fire. They spent the evening relaxing and socializing until the atmosphere around them shifted dramatically. The forest, which was typically alive with the sound of nocturnal creatures, fell completely silent. The sudden change was accompanied by a tangible feeling of static electricity in the air, making the hair on the back of their necks stand on end. This was followed by a deep, resonant bass sound and a mysterious light that illuminated the entire forest. Despite its initially resembling a large firework, the light eventually split into several small lights before disappearing completely into the trees. Attempting to rationalize the experience as a natural phenomenon, possibly a meteor, the group returned to their activities. However, around 2 a.m., the situation escalated. Dan, who had chosen to sleep outside by the fire, woke his friends to report a large, unidentified creature observing their campsite from a distance of about 50 feet. Basically, according to Dan, the creature resembled a bear that stood on two legs and moved in a way that suggested curiosity or streak. The encounter intensified though when the creature, accompanied by others of its kind, approached the campsite. The group described hearing a loud, piercing scream similar to the sound of a pig being slaughtered, only deeper and powerful enough to cause physical discomfort. The creatures, referred to as dogmen because of their canine-like appearance, exhibited aggressive behavior, running towards the tent and interacting with the campsite infrastructure. In a panic though, the campers observed the dogmen pulling at the tent poles, causing the structure to collapse partially. The intensity of the situation peaked though when everything fell silent again, and the group seized the moment to escape through the truck. In a final encounter, they saw one of the dogmen standing in the room, illuminated by the truck's headlights. Described as standing around 8 feet tall, dark hair and yellow or red fur, and a not quite canine face, the creature didn't move as the truck drove towards it, forcing the driver to swerve. The group spent the remainder of the night in a nearby parking lot, too shaky to return to the site until morning. Upon their return, though, they found their campsite completely cleared of their belongings, including the tent and other equipment. Despite continuing to believe the incident to their memories, they decided against it due to the uncertain legality of the camping location. They decided against it due to the uncertain legality of the camping location.
It's almost harder the second time
Following the
around.
fighters. In 1970, a young man determined to visit his fiancée set out on a quiet journey across empty fields towards a nearby village. His peaceful walk under the night sky was suddenly interrupted by strange music. Initially, he mistook the sounds for a local wedding celebration, hearing drums and an organ, which is traditional in Turkish
Shit.
festivities.
I forgot about
However, as the
excision.
music grew louder and seemingly closer, he realized no celebrants were in sight, and the situation took a dark turn. The source of the music was puzzling. It seemed to descend from the sky. Peering upwards, the young man's confusion turned to horror as he spotted a group of creatures floating a few meters above the ground. These beings, appearing as hybrids of humans and goats or horses, appeared the instruments he had heard. They seemed to be descending closer to the earth, and overcoming fear, quickly hid behind nearby bushes, hoping to evade detection. She remained hidden by fear until the creatures had disappeared. This encounter left a profound impact on him, convincing him he had witnessed Shin celebrating a festival. He shared the story with his family and said that his solar state during the encounter, supported by the Muslim faith, which forbade intoxication. The story, passed down within his family, was later shared with paranormal author R.S. Russo and included in a collection of supernatural accounts. To this day, the fear and conviction in the man's eyes when he recounts his tale have had a deep, lasting effect this experience had on him. Vampire of Pine Ridge. In 1895, Pine Ridge in Nebraska's Dawes County was covered with fear due to a series of violent incidents involving cattle and the men who attended them. Reports described a mysterious man with extraordinary strength engaging in brutal attacks. Witnesses described him using his bare hands to overpower and mutilate livestock, even drinking their blood in a manner like
What?
a
It's
vampire.
faster
This
than my
extreme attacks
Pokemon? Okay,
disfigured the
whatever.
encounter, creating local rumors of a supernatural entity haunting the area. Jack Lewis, a cowboy working in the region, encountered the alleged vampire while on an evening away from his group. He was enjoying the solitude when he was suddenly attacked. The assailant, described as frothing at the mouth, aggressively assaulted Lewis, focusing on his neck in an attempt to choke him. In desperation, though, Lewis smashed the fire's head, although it was unclear if the shots had actually hit the attacker. The gunfire then alerted his allies, who rushed to his aid.
Damn, I should have hit him with water move.
Despite their efforts, though, the vampire disappeared without a trace after this encounter. The incident left Lewis with severe injuries to his face and neck, but he didn't exhibit any symptoms of the same affliction that seemed to possess his attacker, suggesting a unique encounter rather than a transmittable condition. The community was wondering if the vampire succumbed to injuries sustained during the confrontation, or simply returned to the shadows from where it came. The Changeling Child of New Jersey. In July 1990, during a summer visit to his grandparents in rural New Jersey, 13-year-old Mike experienced a really event that left a lasting impact on him. The local setting was serene, surrounded by open properties lined with thick brush and woodlands. On the day in question, the atmosphere was typical of a human New Jersey summer. Mike and his cousins decided to engage in a game of hide and seek after dusk, a suggestion that felt Mike with reluctance due to his discomfort with the woods. As the game commenced, tragedy struck though when one of the younger cousins collided with a parked car while running, her screams piercing the night as the family rushed to her aid. Amid the chaos, Mike and his cousin Chris were navigating back from their hiding spots in the forest. The normalcy of the return, though, was shattered when a mysterious portal appeared beside them near a large rose bush. From the swirling vortex, a large shadowy figure emerged, reaching out with incredible speed to grab Chris, pulling him back into the portal. The entire encounter lasted just mere seconds, ending as abruptly as it began, with the portal vanishing without a trace of Chris or Etsy. Shaken by the incident, Mike attempted to alert his family, but his claims were dismissed by his grandmother, who was unconcerned about the whereabouts of Chris, believing he was old enough to look after himself. The next morning, Mike's confusion deepened when he found Chris at home, behaving as if nothing had occurred. Chris's nonchalant response to Mike's questions about the previous night's events only added to the mystery. Mike noticed that Chris bore no physical marks from the incident, contrary to what one might expect if he had indeed been dragged to a thorny bush. But over the years, Chris developed a strange medical condition characterized by periods when he couldn't walk, requiring the use of a wheelchair, along with times of normal mobility. This condition remained undiagnosed,
Just tough.
and despite severity, it was spontaneously resolved before reoccurring. The community whispered about the possibility that Chris was not the same person who had vanished that night. Rumors spread that he was a changeling, a common theme in folklore where humans are taken by supernatural beings and replaced. In these tales, the replaced individuals often exhibit odd or unnatural behaviors, sometimes possessing knowledge or characteristics impossible for them to have acquired naturally. And reflecting on the incident years later, Mike expressed his belief in the zooplanet theory, which suggests that Earth is a sort of exhibition ground for cosmic entities capable of entering and exiting our reality at will. This perspective was influenced by subsequent encounters with other unexplained phenomena, suggesting a pattern that transcended a single isolated event. Venusians on a plane. routine flight from Palm Springs, California to Portland, Oregon, a flight attendant encountered three unusual passengers that led to believe they were not in this world. The incident occurred between 1995 and 1989. Basically, the flight had made a brief stop in San Francisco where three individuals boarded the plane. These passengers were notably odd in their appearance and behavior. Most striking was a man estimated to be around 30 years old, seated in 23D, who exhibited very piercing eyes and an unusual forehead. Accompanying him were a silent-jawed, roughly 8 years old, and a middle-aged individual. All three were dressed in plain work clothing, typical of what one might find at a Sears Roebuck store, and carried no luggage. Once airborne, the man in 23D engaged the flight attendant, asking technical questions about the plane's mass and velocity, questions she found odd and outside the scope of typical passenger inquiries. His interaction with the on-board service was equally strange, being he seemed unfamiliar with common food and beverage items, requiring them to be listed before making a selection. And the man's peculiarities continued throughout the flight. He conversed with another passenger, asking unusual questions and repeating the answers to his silent companions. His knowledge extended beyond normal bounds, being he knew the flight attendant's feelings of dislike toward another crew member without being told, suggesting he could read her thoughts. As the plane landed and the passengers disembarked, the man approached the flight attendant to inquire why she had sat with someone she disliked, confirming his ability to read her mind. And he cryptically told her he was light years old, a statement that confused the measure of distance with time. After the flight, the attendant saw the trio enter a limousine, which added another layer of mystery to their identities. The flight attendant, married to an Air Force serviceman, had never experienced anything similar before or since. Her encounter raises questions about the nature of these individuals, being whether they were extraterrestrial visitors, interdimensional beings, or something else entirely.
Okay, that makes it twice. Lorax, what's up? Okay, I'm gonna get coffee because they just beat me twice in a row. We can't have that.
With otherworldly beings, a series of events that unfolded over several decades. It was early
And get
hours
more
of
hyper
March
potions.
1955 when a pivotal experience marked the start of a narrative. Barbara, residing in her family's home, was awakened by the presence of a tall man in her bedroom. His eyes emitted beams of light that struck her, inducing a trance-like state devoid of resistance. Compelled to follow, she was led to her room. She found
No.
The situation isn't terrifying, it's shocking how long it's happened. A bear approached and slowly began to speak. It asked for their names and questioned whether they had permission to camp there. Despite their assurances
Okay,
of
I'm
having
back.
permission, the bear insisted they leave immediately, prompting them to hastily leave the area. And further adding to the oddity, the bear, described as large and weighed close to a ton, not only communicated verbally, but also displayed aggressive behavior typically uncharacteristic of local wildlife, including throwing rocks at them as they fled. This behavior also has parallels in other reports of large, unidentified creatures, especially those within cryptozoological circles like Bigfoot. The aftermath of the incident involved an investigation by the Greenwater Fire Department, which found the campsite undisturbed apart from tracks that seemed to belong to a large dog rather than a bear. No signs of a struggle or confrontation were evident. Deputy Sheriff Bob Hoffman also engaged with the case, finding that local residents had indeed warned the couple on the previous night about the high fire risk and the private status of the property, using phrasing similar to what was allegedly used by the talking bear. Hoffman suggested the possibility that while the couple might have encountered a bear, the talking aspect could be attributed to an overactive imagination or a misunderstanding, along with the stress of being on unfamiliar property with active fire hazards. Hoffman ultimately concluded that the report
No.
was unfounded, chalking it up to the heightened tensions of the situation along with environmental and social pressures. The lack of physical evidence of the bear, though, especially one that matched the description given by the campers, led to the official dismissal of the case. Two Suns in the Sky. Mount Merapi, located in Java, Indonesia, is an active volcano rising 9,738 feet above sea level, often seen with wisps of smoke escaping its peak. On July 27, 2010, a group of students ventured up this formidable mountain, a decision that led them to a really interesting experience. As they navigated through the trails, their journey took unexpected turns when the students ascended and found themselves enveloped in confusion and disorientation. The group fragmented, with individuals and small groups making their way back to base camp at different times. Rescue operations were then launched to retrieve those who had stayed. Upon regrouping and returning to civilization, one student shared a particularly astonishing account. He reported that during a moment of trying to orient himself using the sun, he observed not one, but two suns in the sky. This vision was accompanied by the sight of a grand palace-like structure flanked by two figures dressed in what appears to be historical military attire. This narrative also echoes elements of Japanese folklore, which speaks of a spiritual realm inhabited by various spirits known as Makokalas. Legend has it that there exists a spirit palace or kraton complete with roads, domestic animals, and soldiers, bearing the opulence of a human royal residence. This palace serves as a domicile for ancestral spirits who occasionally visit their descendants in dreams to relay urgent messages or warnings. The phenomenon observed by the student might be characterized as a time slip, an event where the past, present, or even future momentarily converge in the same physical space. Theories proposed by researchers like John and Ann Spencer in their Encyclopedia of Ghosts and Spirits suggest that such occurrences could involve glimpses into historical or future settings that once existed or might yet come to pass at the location. The appearance of two suns could potentially be explained by superposition of timelines, where the celestial position from another time overlaps with the current day, creating a dual image in the sky. This account was initially brought to light by researcher Joan Foreman, who explores similar anomalies in her work, possibly including this account in her book Mask of Time. Despite the nature of these claims, though, they align interestingly with local beliefs and the mystical narratives associated with Mount Merapi.
I am Butch Loxton. I'm a Los Angeles-based artist who creates skull masks and performs.
And the mystical narratives associated with Mount Merapi. Waterhounds of Lake Lefavitin. Lake Lefavitin, the largest lake on the Reykjanes Peninsula in southern Ireland, is known for its depth and isolation. The lake, though, remains largely unexplained due to its depth of 318 feet and covers an area of 8 square kilometers. So it's not really a surprise that the lake is a center of unusual sightings and local folklore. So in this particular setting, though, in November 1984, two bird hunters, Jonas Eskilsson and Olaf Olassen, experienced something extraordinary at the lake. They reported seeing two large dog-like creatures emerging from the water and frolicking on the shore. Initially mistaking these figures for rocks due to their stillness, The hunters were astonished when the creatures began to move. Described as larger than horses and leaving behind unusually large, three-cleft footprints, these beings resembled descriptions of mythical creatures known in Icelandic folklore as Shorladi. These creatures are said to be quadrupedal, barnacle-furred creatures of the West Fjords coast, part of a broader category of armored shore dwellers. The sighting raises questions about the possibility of a hidden ecosystem within the lake, which is fed by underground springs and surrounded by volcanic terrain. This environment could theoretically support unknown aquatic mammals, possibly accessing the lake through subterranean passages similar to the water's inflow and outflow. The rarity of such sightings though near a major city adds to the mystery and skepticism surrounding these reports. The event was even covered in the 43rd issue of Freudian Times, and frequently discussed due to the cultural significance of mythical creatures in the region, including the Kelpies, which are horse-like shapeshifters noted in local tales. Minotaur runs amok in Virginia. In December 1868, residents near Independent Hill, Virginia, reported unsettling sightings of a creature resembling a minotaur, which is a mythological beast from Greek lore. According to local accounts, including that of a man named Silas Brown, this entity possessed frightening physical characteristics and exhibited unnerving behaviors. Silas Brown, described by his community as a peaceful and intelligent citizen, first encountered this creature around his property, where it was reportedly seen multiple times near his barn. One evening, the creature aggressively confronted Brown as he was tending to his livestock, forcing him to flee in terror. The creature, described as having large horns and the ability to alter its claws into hooves, intimidated Brown with its sheer size, reportedly 3 times larger than a man, and its ability to emit noxious smoke when approached. Seeing
Yeah,
help,
bye.
Brown enlisted a neighbor, Siger, to observe the creature. Although skeptical, Siger accompanied Brown and soon witnessed the creature's behavior himself. During their encounter, a stone heated to an extreme temperature was thrown at Siger, who narrowly avoided injury. Both men observed the Minotaur from distance, noting its features and the strange sulfur-like smell that accompanied its presence. Despite these terrifying experiences, though, local authorities and others in the community were skeptical of the claims. Investigating officers found no physical evidence to support the sightings, and some even suggested that the incident might have been influenced by external pressures on Brown to vacate his land, possibly leading to exaggerated or fabricated reports. Where did Lillian Carney go? On August 8, 1897, in Masardis, Maine, near the Aroostook River, Lillian Carney, a 6-year-old girl, mysteriously disappeared while picking blueberries with her parents in one log. Despite the immediate and frantic search by her parents, Lillian was not found until 46 hours later, prompting a massive search effort involving over 300 people from the surrounding communities. Lillian was eventually discovered by Mr. Bert Pollard 2 to 3 miles from where she initially vanished. She appeared calm and was holding wild berries, but refused to eat them due to health concerns. The searchers celebrated her safe return by firing guns and sounding the steam whistle at Simpson Hill. When questioned about her ordeal, though, Lillian recounted that the sun seemed to shine constantly in the woods during her disappearance, a statement that baffled many given the moon's phases and intermittent cloud cover noted during the search. She also reported hearing voices, which she feared belonged to tramps, and seeing small creatures resembling her cat, which she scared away by clapping her hands. Local newspapers speculate that these might have been rabbits. This case, though, bears a lot of similarities to other cases documented under the missing 411 phenomenon, where individuals disappear under mysterious circumstances, often related to outdoor activities like hiking or berry picking. These individuals typically vanish swiftly without a trace and are found near their last known locations. In Lillian's case, the constant sunlight she perceived raises questions about potential perceptual distortions or unexplained natural phenomena. Lillian's calm demeanor, though, throughout the incident and her descriptions of continuous daylight could suggest an altered state of perception or an extraordinary encounter, possibly with an unidentified natural or artificial light source. David Politz, a researcher on mysterious disappearances, has suggested that such light might not be natural, pointing to the possibility of unknown technologies or phenomena active in the late 1800s.
I've partnered with Hero Cosmetics to share my go-to products for radiant looking skin this winter. Starting with the Glow Bomb.
Not active in the late 1800s. A big cockroach problem. In the late 1990s, a traveler named Peggy, driving from Las Vegas to Los Angeles, decided to stop for the night at a motel located in California City, positioned roughly between Bakersfield and Barstow. The motel, which was appealing with its vintage charm, promised a restful pause from our long journey. However, the night unfolded into a terrifying
That's
experience
it.
that
We're
Peggy
whooping
would
your ass.
recount as one of the most horrifying incidents of her life. Upon settling into a room and while watching TV, Peggy heard a knock at her door. Expecting perhaps room service or a mistaken guest, she cautiously opened
Navi,
the
get
door,
out of here.
only to be greeted by the
Navi,
utterly
go.
bizarre and
What is
frightening
wrong with you?
sight. Not a person, but a colossal cockroach, standing as if on hind legs, about 6.5 feet tall. This giant insect, behaving eerily like a human, asked for a bed lining in a clear, articulate voice. As Peggy processed the shock, though, the creature began to clean its legs frenetically. Reacting to Peggy's visible shock, though, the cockroach spat a brown substance toward her and simply uttered, "Why?" in response to her scream. In a panic, Peggy attempted to flee, only to find the motel hallway blocked by the prone body of a motel employee. The cockroach pursued her down the hallway, demonstrating intelligence and physical abilities far beyond normal insects. In an adrenaline-fueled moment reminiscent of an action movie scene, Peggy managed to outmaneuver the creature using a move inspired by Chuck Norris, being she kicked at the cockroach's legs and then its face, briefly stunning it. As Peggy escaped the motel, the incident drew the attention of a bystander who promptly called the police. The swift arrival of law enforcement seemed to scare off the creature, which retreated into the darkness along with other similar beings, suggesting that Peggy might not have been their only target, or that there was more than one of these creatures. This account poses a lot of questions about the nature of these creatures, though, and their origins. There's questions like, are they a result of a genetic experiment gone wrong, or something else entirely? The rapid response of the police and the creature's subsequent disappearance hint at a possible cover-up, or at least a reluctance to engage publicly with such an inexplicable phenomenon. Gelatinous cube of London Bridge. On a seemingly ordinary day, two brothers decide to take a leisurely stroll along London Bridge, overlooking the River Thames. What
I
began
keep
as
forgetting about
routine
that
outing
too.
quickly spiraled into an extraordinary encounter, though, with a creature that defied explanation. As the brothers gazed into the murky
Lala,
waters of the
get out of
Thames,
there.
they noticed
Hey.
an unusual shape moving against the current. Initially, it
Get out
appeared to
of
be
there.
an ordinary floating object, but upon closer inspection, it became clear that this was no debris or waterfowl. The entity in question was described as having a distinctly elongated, square-shaped head, gray in color, devoid of any recognizable facial features. Surrounding his lower body were what appeared to be green tentacles or tassels, adding to its strange and unsettling appearance. The creature was estimated to be around 5 feet long, comparable in thickness to a man's body. Combining the mystery, though, was the brothers' impression that there was something metallic or mechanical about the creature, despite their certainty of its biological nature. This paradoxical observation left them even more confused as they watched the creature dip beneath the water's surface and reappear, maintaining this pattern for about a minute before it finally disappeared from view. In the heat of the moment, the brothers scrambled to capture images of this sight with their camera phones. Unfortunately, though, the combination of poor camera quality and the distance from the creature rendered their photos ineffective. However, they were not alone in the setting. A small crowd had gathered on the bridge, drawn by the spectacle, and many bystanders shared in the brothers' awe and confusion, discussing what the creature could possibly be after it vanished. The incident left a lasting impression on the brothers, particularly on Laz, who returned to the site a year later with his young son. The past encounters seemed all but forgotten until his son, typically calm and confident, was suddenly overcome with panic, insisting that they leave immediately because he felt something watching them from the water. This reaction was especially chilling, given that Laz had never shared the story of his previous encounter with his son. The nature of the creature, though, remains shrouded in mystery. Some have speculated that it could be a mutated jellyfish or a cephalopod, previously unknown to science. The local folklore and historical accounts don't provide clear parallels, though, although the British Isles do have histories of unusual marine life
Oh,
settings.
finally got her
Another view
geriatric
suggests
ass.
misidentification of mundane objects or animals, possibly influenced by the play of light and shadow on the water, though this does not really explain the observed details. Electrical anomaly in Ashford. At Ashford, England, an unusual lightning strike incident occurred involving four workmen. Basically, during a sudden storm, three of the men took shelter in a shed, while the fourth stood under a nearby willow tree. This decision proved nearly catastrophic though when a bolt of lightning had struck the tree. The man by the tree experienced extraordinary effects from the strike on his boots at the base of the tree. One was twisted but undamaged by burns, and the other showed typical signs of a lightning strike like tearing and burning. The man himself was discovered some distance away, alive but severely injured. He was missing most of his clothing, which was later found scattered around the area, torn but not burned, except near metallic objects he had been carrying, like his belt buckle and watch. His injuries included burns and a complex fracture in his right leg, with the tibia protruding through the skin. Surprisingly, though, his nervous system remained largely unaffected, leading to Dr. G. Wilkes, who later discussed the case, to speculate that the man's clothing might have acted as conductors, sparing his nervous system for more severe damage. This incident was later detailed in an 1880 incident of Scientific American and further discussed in a meeting of the London Clinical Society. The case presents an interesting parallel to the missing forelimb phenomenon, noted for the unexplained disappearances associated with sudden weather changes and victims often found partially or completely undressed. The talking cat. In the early morning hours, as Danny prepared for his adult Sunday school class, he experienced a weird encounter right at his doorstep. On a Sunday morning, specifically a few years before 2004, Danny, who was deep in his theological studies around 4 a.m., was startled by an unusual voice saying, "I love you, let me in." Initially confused, Danny approached the door and was met with an astonishing sight, being a black cat standing on its hind legs, its front paws raised in the air as if gesturing. This was no ordinary cat though. Its lips moved unnaturally as though it were a talking character from an animal movie, repeating its earlier plea for entry. Despite the surreal nature of this encounter though, Danny, driven perhaps by compassion, opened the door and let the cat inside. This decision was followed by the discovery that an uncle of his had passed away that very morning. Later, Danny's daughter, initially wanting to keep the cat, decided against it after claiming she heard her calling her name. Concerned, Danny's wife took the cat to the vet, where it was diagnosed with leukemia and subsequently euthanized. This incident, marked by the cat's verbal communication and its coincidental timing with the family death, left a lasting impression on Danny, who swore by the reality of his experience despite its fantastical elements. Warren Brain's first alien abduction. In September of 1942, during the height of World War II, Albert Lancashire, stationed as a sentry at the Crestwell Ranger Station in Northumberland, England, experienced an event that profoundly altered the course of his life. Late one evening while on duty, Albert felt an inexplicable urge to look up towards the sky. To his astonishment, he saw a glowing object surrounded by dark mist hovering over the North Sea. Initially suspecting it to be a new type of German weapon, his attention was abruptly diverted when a beam of yellow light emanated from the object, enveloping him in a inducing and sensational absorption. The next thing he knew, he was back at his post, lying on the ground, disoriented and without any recollection of what had transpired. This incident marked the beginning of a series of unexplained phenomena in Albert's life. Over the ensuing decades, he developed what he described as psychic abilities, including extrasensory perception, and he occasionally saw fake apparitions. Struggling to make sense of its experience, Albert began to interpret these events through a religious lens, discussing them occasionally with friends who were both curious and skeptical. The mystery deepened though in October 1977, amidst a flurry of UFO sightings across Britain. Albert, now working as a railway signalman in Ashton-under-Lyne, reported that his signal box was buzzed by unidentified white lights. This encounter seemed to trigger further paranormal activity, including poltergeist phenomena at his home and a series of vivid dreams. Upon reflection, Albert believed these dreams might actually be repressed memories of his 1942 encounter. He recalled being in a strange room, lying on what appeared to be a medical examination table, surrounded by various beings, being a woman resembling an Asian female, short, pygmy-like men, and taller human-sized figures dressed in white suits. One of these beings, who wore a surgical mask, seemed to be examining him. Despite the vividness of these recovered memories, though, Albert lamented that these fragments were all he could recall. He speculated that undergoing hypnosis might reveal more about a mysterious abduction, but he never pursued this avenue.
The drinks that happened to him though during that fateful encounter in 1942 and subsequently in 1967 still remain shrouded in mystery.
My moderate to severe
Encounter in 1942 and subsequently in 1967 still remain shrouded in mystery. There's something in the Devil's Hole. Devil's Hole, part of the Ash Meadows National Wildlife Refuge in Nevada, is a geothermal abyss that is both ecologically and historically significant. Located in Amagasa Desert, a component of the larger Black Valley area, Devil's Hole is notably recognized for its deep, warm waters that maintain a constant temperature of about 32 degrees Celsius or 91 degrees Fahrenheit. This waterflood cavern is part of a larger aquifer system, and the visible surface opening measures about 6 by 18 feet, leading down into a cavern that extends over 500 feet deep, although the exact depths remain uncharted. The peculiarities of Devil's Hole though
Lame.
its depth and warmth. The site is subject to the effects of distant seismic activity, often demonstrating noticeable water level fluctuations, similar to small tsunamis triggered by earthquakes as far away as Japan, Chile, and Lithuania Indonesia. Such geophysical sensitivity suggests a profound connection within the Earth's crust. One of the most interesting aspects of Devil's Hole, though, is its sole inhabitant, the Devil's Hole pupfish. This species is critically endangered, found only in this specific location, surviving in hot, oxygen poor water conditions
What the
that would be lethal to
fruit?
most fish. The existence of the pupfish here
Oh, that's
is a
so
marvel of
lame.
evolutionary adaptation, as these fish feed on algae and detritus in this isolated environment. The population of the pupfish has been a key concern, with numbers fluctuating dramatically over
That's
the years,
super whack.
observed from a high of around 500 to as low as 35 in recent times. The production of Devil's Hole as pupfish, though, became a matter of legal and environmental priority, leading to strict regulations on water usage in the area to preserve the delicate ecosystem. These measures reflect the broad challenges of conservation efforts, in ensuring unique habitats are threatened by external pressures. Apart from its ecological and geological significance, though, Devil's Hole has been steeped in folklore and mystery. One notable legend involves Charles Manson, who in 1969 believed the site to be a gateway to an underground city and the possible location of the fabled bottomless pit mentioned in the biblical book of Revelation. Manson's interest in the site was part of his apocalyptic vision, which added a dark road to the location's history.
Thunderbolt, what?
Also, the lore of Devil's Hole includes tragic tales, such as the loss of 3 young men in 1965 who dived into the hole, never to be seen again. Despite extensive rescue efforts and dives reaching depths of 315 feet, only scant evidence of the venture was found, like snorkel masks and a single fin. These disappearances all contribute to the site's eerie reputation, with ongoing debates about the safety and mystique of exploring such depths. 2 cases of cosmic motorcyclists. In 2 such cases, which occurred in different parts of the world and in different years, involved sightings of what witnesses described as motorcycle-like vehicles operated by unusual humanoid figures. The first reported incident took place during the summer of 1954 along the Alkin Highway in the remote regions of northern Yukon. The Raymond family, including identical twins Gail and Dave, were driving when they encountered 2 high-speed vehicles approaching their car. These vehicles, unique in their construction, were single-wheeled, metallic, and silvery, making no sound as they moved. Each vehicle was operated by a humanoid figure wearing a metallic helmet. The family observed these vehicles overtake them and then disappear into the distance. About 2 years later, in 1956, a similar event occurred in France between the towns of Le Polo and Serret. Mrs. Porta, while riding her moped around 11:50 a.m., was overtaken by 2 large nickel-plated motorcycle vehicles that were also silent in operation. Each vehicle was manned by 2 humanoids dressed in fawn-colored sandalwood boots and closely sealed helmets. After overtaking Mrs. Porta, these vehicles stopped to head on the road, effectively blocking her path. Despite the nature of this encounter, though, Mrs. Porta managed to navigate around the vehicles. As she passed, she noticed that the faces of the beings were obscured by large smoke visors. Upon looking back after a short distance, she found that the beings and their vehicles had disappeared without a trace. These 2 incidents are notable not only for the descriptions of the vehicles, but also for the humanoid figures populating them. The fact that these encounters occurred in such different geographical locations and were reported by unrelated witnesses adds to the mystery. In both cases, the vehicles resembled motorcycles and were noted for their lack of sound, a characteristic often reported in UFO sightings, but rarely associated with ground vehicles. Now they hear it all the time. In a tale from the depths of internet folklore, sort of like the Candle Cove creepypasta, a series of discussions on platforms like Reddit and Metafilter have brought to light a haunting public service announcement, or a PSA, concerning tinnitus. This PSA, which aired in the 1970s or 1980s, primarily in the New York City area, left a lasting impression on those who saw it due to its unnerving content and mysterious disappearance from anyone archives. The content of this PSA featured visuals that were described by various online contributors. It allegedly showcased mannequin heads made of frosted gas, which illuminated from within. Accompanying these visuals were the unsettling sounds of humming and buzzing, typical of tinnitus, that played in the background. The narration of the PSA added to the effect, with phrases remembered by viewers like "now they hear all the time" and "they can't turn it off." Differing accounts of the PSA though as to its mystery. One user recalled a dramatic setup where the mannequin heads were set against a black or gray backdrop, with everyday noises escalating into a cacophony of what was abruptly falling silent. This was followed by a visually striking moment where three red laser spots targeted the temple of a mannequin head, accompanied by a high-pitched tone pulsing slowly. The exact timeline of the PSA's burial is murky, with the most concrete timestamp being a recollection that places it no later than 1983. Despite the vivid and specific memories of those who witnessed it, though, no video evidence of the PSA seems to exist today. Efforts to locate it, fueled by discussions on internet forums, have yielded no results, turning the PSA into a sort of Blizzard legend. Cyclops of the Bayou. In 1957, in Louisiana, a group of four friends experienced an unusual encounter after watching a movie and having dinner. As they drove near a smaller bridge enough crossing the Tangier-Flahoa River Bridge, they spotted what seemed to be a large figure emerging from a ditch on the roadside. Curious and initially thinking they saw a tall person, they decided to turn their car around for a closer look. But when they returned to the spot, the figure was still there. They stopped the car and used their headlights to get a better view. The figure appeared to be a male about 7.5 feet tall and roughly 325 pounds, wearing tattered dark blue clothing. Unlike a typical person, though, the figure had an openly misshapen nose resembling a snout, and most strikingly a single eye in the center of the forehead, which led them to think of it as a cyclops. Thence he didn't interact, but instead walked back down into the ditch and disappeared into the forest. Shocked by what they saw, the witnesses drove to the nearest town and reported the incident to the police, who didn't take the report seriously. The witnesses, who lived no more than 5 miles from the site of the sighting, discussed the event among themselves over the years. They concluded that they might have seen a deformed individual who had been hiding or was hidden away, given the rural nature of the area. Despite their proximity to the location and the striking nature of their encounter, though, they never heard any other local accounts or mentions of a cyclops-like figure in the bayou. The prairie giants of
No.
St. Bees. In the small village of St. Bees, located on the northwest coast of England, an extraordinary discovery was reportedly made beneath the surface of a cornfield. Adding to historical accounts documented by Samuel Jefferson in his book The History and Antiques of Alder Ward, above Carolyn in the county of Cumberland, a giant's remains were reportedly unearthed. This discovery, dating back to an unspecified time, were brought to light in a manuscript from the dean and chapter of Carlisle's library, was made by Hugh Hodson of Thornway, Cumberland. He detailed his findings in a letter to Sir Robert Sewell, revealing that the remains were located 12 feet underground. These were not just any remains, but the skeleton measured an astonishing 13.5 feet in height, surrounded by artifacts that suggested the presence of a formidable being from a bygone era. The giant was found with armor indicative of its possible status or role in this community. Beside the giant were a sword and a battle axe, the sword measuring 6 feet in length, and the axe consisting of a 3-foot long head with a shaft as thick as a man's thigh, also over 6 feet long. The physical features of the skeleton were equally impressive, with teeth each 6 inches long and 2 inches wide, and a forehead measuring 1.875 feet across. The chin bone was large enough to contain 70 liters of oatmeal, emphasizing the massive scale of this being. And the artifacts found with the remains of a sword, battle axe, and pieces of armor were reportedly kept in the residence of Mr. Sand of Rottington and Mr. Wyber of St. Bees, according to Hodson's report. However, the ultimate fate of these items is unknown, leading to speculation that they might have been hidden away or lost over time. This discovery raises numerous questions about the existence of giants and their place in the history of folklore. In both the 19th and 20th centuries, similar finds have been reported in North America, though such discoveries are rare in England and Europe. The size and characteristics of the St. Peter's giant set it apart from typical archaeological finds and align it more with the legendary giants of myths rather than the known prehistoric giants like dinosaurs or lions.
Dr. Molly here with the Molly Method at Audi Kansas City, where our #1 priority is your customer.
Finds and align it more with the legendary giants of myths rather than the
Let
known
'em know.
prehistoric giants like dinosaurs or lions. The Suffolk Sea Dragon. In 1749, an event occurred off the coast of Suffolk, England, which still serves curiosity to date. Basically, according to historical accounts, local fishermen aiming to catch mackerel netted something far more mysterious. This event was recorded by Mr. Linwood, a member of local Gentleman's Magazine, who later relayed details to the Suffolk Naturalist Society. The fishermen were near Orford and self-ruled when they ensnared a large, strange creature. Initially mistaking it for a typical catch, they soon realized their error when the creature exhibited extraordinary and terrifying characteristics. The creature's thrashing upon capture was so violent that one of the fishermen used a bow hook to subdue it, knocking it onto the ground. Overcome by curiosity and perhaps a sense of bravado, the fishermen then decided to free the creature from the net, a decision they would soon regret. Upon being released, the creature sprang up and, utilizing what were described as wing-like organs, leaped at an astonishing distance of over 50 yards away from the fishermen. During this chaotic escape, the creature attacked one of the fishermen, biting off his fingers. This unfortunate being quickly succumbed to his injuries, dying from what was described as the mortification of his wounds. The creature, which was said to have a body resembling that of an alligator with the length before dissection. The creature, which was said to have a body resembling that of an alligator, bore formidable armor-like scales and possessed two large fins which enabled it to both swim and apparently to propel itself through the air. Its head and tail were notably similar to that of an alligator, and it had legs ending in hooves, although these descriptions were noted to possibly be affected by the process of desiccation. The creature was also described as having 5 rows of sharp, white teeth in each jaw. After its brief and violent moment of freedom, the creature was recaptured by the fishermen. Perhaps recognizing the rarity and potential value of their find, they killed it, dried its carcass, and later displayed it as a curiosity. The remains were described in great detail by Mr. Linwood after he reviewed the creature's preserved body. He noted particularly the creature's wings, which he compared to those depicted on dragons in heraldic coats of armor. This account raises numerous questions about the nature and origin of the creature. While some might dismiss the story as a product of the era's fascination with curiosities and the unknown, the detailed descriptions of the physical evidence that was reportedly put on display suggest there may be more to the story. The creature's ability to fly and its
psychic.
appearance hint at a possibly undiscovered or unclassified species. Menacing Muppets on the TV screen. In 1994, Brian Bethel recounted an experience from his childhood involving an anonymous television broadcast that deeply unnerved him. This encounter, which occurred when he was about 4 or 5 years old, unfolded at his grandparents' house, where he was staying with his mother while his father was away on a work trip. The house was well equipped with televisions, boasting one in each bedroom and another in the living room. One evening, after a typical family dinner and night routine, everyone retired to the master bedroom for the night. It was there in the middle of the night that Brian suddenly woke up and noticed something peculiar, being the television in the room had turned itself on. This was particularly strange since it was a time when remote controls were not common, making the spontaneous activation of the TV highly unusual. As Brian watched, what appeared initially as mere static on the black and white screen began to morph into discernible shapes.
Oh wait, I already used
These
spell
shapes
cross.
soon
Shit.
took on the form of shadowy figures that seemed to be observing him. As he continued to watch, the figures became clearer, transforming into characters resembling Muppets. Initially, Brian felt a surge of excitement upon recognizing the familiar puppet forms. However, his excitement soon turned to discomfort as he noticed that these Muppet-like figures had no sick fangs, starkly contrasting with their otherwise typical Muppet appearance. The situation then escalated when the creatures began to interact with Brian directly. One of the Muppets, resembling Grover, whispered to another, which reminded Brian of a hairy monster. They then both stared directly at him, gesturing for him to come closer when speaking in an unintelligible guttural language.
Despite their initial inviting demeanor, their expressions soon turned angry when Brian hesitated, and their fangs became more pronounced. Feeling threatened, Brian attempted to wake his grandparents, but to no avail, being that they remained asleep despite the commotion. In a panic, Brian then fled to the living room, only to find the television there already on, displaying the same shadowy figures transitioning into their terrifying Muppet creatures. As he screamed in fear, the figures vanished just as his mother rushed into the room. Brian's mother spent some time comforting him, and they later checked on the grandparents, who were broken upon hearing Brian scream. The family stayed up for a while discussing the night's events before finally returning to bed. Nothing further occurred that night or subsequently. Brian remains convinced, though, that he was fully awake throughout the incident and believes that these entities used the familiar form of Muppets to lure him in. He speculates that the fangs and claws were part of their true forms that they had not managed to conceal. The experience left him wondering what might have happened had he approached the television as they demanded. An ostrich horse. In January 2000, an encounter was shared at a gun show by a vendor with an interest in cryptids, who recounted an unusual sighting of a creature that blended characteristics of both an ostrich and a horse. This event reportedly took place near the cemetery in Ripley, Oklahoma, where the vendor had stopped to rest during a long drive, a common practice for him. The vendor was just settling in when he was startled by a loud, indescribable noise. Reacting quickly, he observed a large creature through his vehicle's window, which sprinted across in front of his car. Initially, due to its size and shape, he thought it might be an ostrich, but the head of the creature resembled that of a horse rather than the bird he had presumed. The sounds made by the creature were described as loud and aggressive, which added to the nature of the encounter. Concerned for his safety, the vendor prepared himself defensively by securing his revolver, though he chose not to confront the creature. Instead, after waiting to ensure no further signs of the creature were apparent, he decided it was prudent to relocate to another area to continue his rest. This mysterious sighting raises questions about its relation to known cryptids, especially the Jersey Devil, which is traditionally described as a new creature from the Jersey folklore. The creature observed in Oklahoma lacked the characteristic wings of the Jersey Devil, suggesting a possible variation of an entirely different cryptid that shares some physical traits. This has led to speculation about whether multiple misunderstood or unknown creatures could be at the root of the Jersey Devil legends. The account, though while interesting, remains isolated, with this being the only report of such a creature in the area. The lack of additional sightings or evidence leaves the true nature and identity of the ostrich horse open to interpretation and further inquiry. Fear of the deer rat. In the realm of cryptids and found humanoids, two notable encounters with creatures known as deer rats have interested and alarmed those who've come across them. These sightings, while separated geographically and temporally, share some similarities and describe a mysterious creature that defies easy categorization. Basically, in June of 1996, Lynn Johnson was driving to the Cottage Grove area in Oregon when she encountered a bizarre creature. Thence he darted across the road with incredible speed, estimated at around 70 miles per hour, and suddenly unfurled wings that seemed disproportionately small for its size.
Oh, come on.
This rapid unfolding allowed it to launch into the air, disappearing into the night. Johnson was left bewildered, convinced that the creature was beyond natural explanation due to the impracticality of its wings for flight. Later, in a different part of the country, a similar creature startled two teenagers in Illinois. Dawson and his friend Nick were enjoying a late-night drive near Rockford in 1997 when they noticed unusual movements in a cornfield. As they slowed the car, expecting perhaps a deer, an astonishing figure burst forth. This creature, resembling a large buck at first glance, revealed enormous wings as it leaped into the air. The boys, shocked and frightened, described the creature as jet black, with a deer-like appearance but equipped with powerful bat-like wings. And despite the terrifying encounter, they managed to escape unharmed, with their experience adding another layer to the growing legend of the deer bat. I would know that something cloud again if I saw it. One night, Marnie, at the age of 5, experienced something terrifying that stayed with her ever since. She was sharing a double bed with her 3-year-old brother in her family home, and while her parents watched the evening news downstairs, Marnie struggled to fall asleep. Amidst her restlessness, though, she turned to find a clown standing next to her bed. This wasn't just any clown, but had a maniacal expression and wore a purple and green outfit with a red tie, which notably wasn't stained with blood, as clarified during a recount of the incident to Dave Schrader on the Darkness Radio podcast. It was
Cincinnati's clown was so real to Marnie that she could hear the rustling of his cheap sound costume each time the film skipped on. Paralyzed with fear, she lay in bed listening to the familiar sounds of the Johnny Carson show drifting up from downstairs, indicating her parents were still awake. In a desperate attempt to get someone's attention, she tried to wake her brother by pinching him, but he only recoiled in his sleep without waking. Hours seemed to pass as Marnie alternated between
Oh
closing
my
her eyes,
God.
hoping the clown would disappear, and opening them to find it still
They
ominously
could
present.
be alive.
Eventually, exhaustion and terror overwhelmed her, and she fell asleep. The next morning, Marnie immediately told her parents about the clown, but they dismissed her story as a dream, despite the evidence of a bruise on her brother's arm where she had pinched him. Her parents' skepticism gave little to ease her fears though, or erased the vivid memory of that night. Years later, Marnie still vividly remembers the clown's appearance, convinced she would recognize it if she ever saw it again. Aquatic mysteries are perhaps the most fascinating ones out there, given that the ocean and all the lakes are like this huge world of their own that's barely explored. And unlike the other iceberg videos that you've probably seen on this topic, I've created my own entries and piled up on all sorts of things like missing ships, ghost islands, cold cases, and many more. Without further ado, welcome to the Aquatic Mysteries iceberg. Let's get straight into it now with the first entry of Tier 1. Franklin's Lost Expedition. Franklin's Lost Expedition, which commenced in 1845 with the ships HMS Erebus and HMS Terror, embarked on a mission to navigate the last uncharted sections of the Northwest Passage in the Canadian Arctic. The expedition, which was led by Captain Sir John Franklin, included 129 men that aimed to traverse the Arctic to gather magnetic data and complete the mapping of the Northwest Passage. Despite the technological advancements and substantial provisions, the expedition faced a lot of challenges leading to its disappearance and sparked numerous search efforts. The initial part of the voyage proceeded without incident. Franklin's ships were last seen by Europeans though in Baffin Bay in July 1845 before they entered the Canadian Arctic archipelago. After this sighting, the ships and the crews simply vanished, prompting extensive searches that spanned over a century. Initial clues about the fate of the expedition emerged in 1850 with the discovery of 3 graves from 1846 on Beach A Island, indicating where the crew had first wintered. Over the years, more artifacts and evidence of campsites were found on various Arctic islands, but the ships themselves remained undiscovered. Reports from the Inuit, though, who lived in the region, described encounters with starving men from the expedition and provide accounts of the locations of the ships. These oral histories were critical in forming the narrative that some crew members actually survived for a while, even after their ships became icebound. Forensic analysis of bones found at these sites suggested that the crew suffered from multiple health issues, including lead poisoning, which was likely caused by the lead-soldered cans used for their provisions. The bones also showed signs of scurvy, a disease caused by lack of vitamin C, and possibly other diseases like tuberculosis. There are also signs of trauma and marks consistent with cannibalism, indicating extreme conditions and starvation. The mystery, though, began to unravel further with the discovery of the actual ships. In 2014, the wreck of Erebus was discovered in the southern part of Greenmount Gulf, followed by the discovery of Terror in 2016 in Terror Bay. These findings confirm some of the Inuit oral traditions and provide new data for analysis. The ships were found really well preserved, with items aboard the ships, including personal belongings and navigational tools, being really well intact. The discovery of the ships also reignited interest in the Franklin expedition, prompting new scientific studies and archaeological surveys. The ships were found really well preserved, with items aboard the ships, including personal belongings and navigational tools, which were really well intact. So yeah, the search for Franklin's lost
Barely
expedition
beat this
not
one.
only solved one of the maritime world's greatest mysteries, but also contributed to the larger field of polar research and even showed the capabilities of
Never
Inuit
mind.
survival strategies in the Arctic environment. Champ. Champ, often referred to as Champy, is a creature said to dwell in Lake Champlain, which spans across New York, Vermont, and parts of Quebec, Canada. This lake monster has gained a lot of attention not only from cryptozoologists, but also from local tourists and folklore enthusiasts.
The legend of Champ closely mirrors those of other lake monsters like you all would have heard of, like Nessie and Ogopogo. The origins of Champ, though, trace back to Native American tribes, mainly the Abenaki and the Iroquois. These tribes had stories of a creature known as Gitskog, believed to inhabit the waters of Lake Champlain. The narrative was well established in indigenous folklore long before European settlers arrived, though, and began documenting their own encounters. One of the earliest recorded sightings by a European occurred in 1819 when Captain Crum on Balwaga Bay claimed to have observed a gigantic black monster described as being around 187 feet long, with eyes as red as the noon sun and a white star on its forehead. This sighting is one of many that dot the chronology of Champ's existence through the centuries. The year 1873, though, marked a really significant increase in sightings, which culminated in various reports, including one by the sheriff himself of Clinton County, Nathan H. Mooney. The surge in reported sightings also caught the attention of P.T. Barnum, the famous showman who offered a reward for the capture of the beast, which he hoped to exhibit in his traveling show. However, the most pivotal moment in the saga of Champ came in 1977 when Sandra Mansi took a photograph while on vacation with her family. The Mansi photograph, as it came to be known, reportedly shows Champ emerging from the lake. This image, though, has been scrutinized and debated by experts and skeptics for a long time. Some suggest it depicts a real, unknown creature, but others think it's like a floating log or just an optical illusion. Despite the controversy, though, the photograph remains one of the most compelling pieces of evidence cited by those who actually really believe in Champ's existence. Throughout the years, numerous studies and expeditions have been launched to uncover the truth behind the legend and the mystery. These include sonar scans and underwater surveys, which haven't yielded conclusive results, though. The lack of definite evidence, though, has not dampened the enthusiasm of local residents and monster enthusiasts, who continue to report sightings and share tales of this creature. But yeah, it's still a mystery. Mary Celeste. The story of the Mary Celeste begins long before the famous 1872 voyage that rendered it a famous maritime mystery. Constructed in 1861 at Spencer's Island, Nova Scotia, by builder Joshua Dewis, the vessel was originally named Amazon. It was a brigantine, carvel built, meaning its hull planks were flush rather than overlapping, which created a smooth exterior. Registered in nearby Parisboro, the ship measured 99.3 feet in length with a beam of 22.5 feet and a depth of 11.7 feet. Initially, Amazon's career was fraught with a lot of incidents. On its maiden voyage, the ship encountered trouble when its captain, Robert McClellan, fell ill shortly after departing and later died. The vessel itself, though, also met with several accidents, including a collision with fishing equipment off Maine and another ship in the English Channel. Despite these early misfortunes, though, it continued to operate mainly between the Atlantic coast of North America and Europe, engaging in the timber and general cargo trade. In 1867, after running aground off Cape Breton Island during a storm, Amazon was so severely damaged that it was declared a wreck. However, it was then salvaged and eventually purchased by Richard W. Haynes, an American mariner, who significantly refurbished and renamed it the Mary Celeste. So this is where it all begins, since under this new guise, the ship was registered in New York and began anew. Yeah, its misfortunes were far from over, culminating in the mysterious events of 1872. On November 7th of that year, Mary Celeste departed from New York City, bound for Genoa, Italy, under the command of Captain Benjamin Spooner Briggs. The cargo hold was filled with 1,701 barrels of denatured alcohol, a potentially volatile cargo. Accompanying Captain Briggs were his wife Sarah and their younger daughter Sophia, along with a crew of 7 highly competent sailors. Briggs himself was a seasoned and respected captain, known for his meticulous nature and the care he took in selecting his crew, ensuring they were as reliable and experienced as necessary. The journey proceeded uneventfully at first. The ship followed its planned route across the Atlantic, but on December 4th, 1872, the crew of the De Gratia, another brigantine, spotted Mary Celeste adrift between the Azores and Portugal. Upon boarding the abandoned vessel, the De Gratia's crew found the ship in a disheveled but sound condition. The sails were partially set, but some were missing altogether, and the ship's lifeboat was completely gone, indicating a hasty abandonment. Inside, the ship was wet from water that entered the skylights and doorways, but it was still structurally sound.
The galley equipment was also neatly stowed away, and the cargo of alcohol was intact, with no signs of theft. The personal belongings of the crew and passengers were also undisturbed, and ample provisions were made. The ship's logbook found in the mate's cabin recorded entries up to 9 days before the discovery, with nothing amiss indicated in these final entries. The salvage hearings in Gibraltar explored various possibilities, including foul play, piracy, and insurance fraud, but the lack of concrete evidence led to more speculative theories. These range from natural phenomena like sea quakes and waterspouts to more sensational ideas such as sea monsters or paranormal activity. But yeah, a definite thing has not been established yet, so it still pretty much remains a mystery. Angikuni Lake. Angikuni Lake is located in the Kavalik region of Nunavut, Canada, and spans about 510 square kilometers. It's part of a series of lakes along the Kazan River, with Enadai Lake to the south and Yahyad Lake to the north. Despite its remote location and harsh conditions, the lake is known for its really cool beauty, surrounded by rocky outcrops of the Precambrian Shield. The area is a migration path for barren ground caribou, and the lake is home to species like lake trout, Northern pike, and Arctic grayling. However, Angikuni Lake is more famously associated with the legend that dates back to November 1930. The story centers around the sudden and unexplained disappearance of an entire Inuit village located near the lake. According to reports, a fur trapper named Joel Labelle, known for his familiarity with the area, came upon the village only to find it disturbingly silent. The scene he encountered was unsettling, being half-cooked meals, abandoned clothing still threaded with needles, and deserted huts. Strangely, there was also no footprints or signs of departure that were visible, despite the apparent sudden exodus. Adding to the eerie atmosphere too, LaBelle reported finding the corpses of 7 sled dogs, starved to death, and a disturbed grave whose surrounding stones were undisturbed. The mystery deepened when LaBelle contacted the authorities, leading to an official investigation by the RCMP, or the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Despite extensive searches, no trace of the villagers was ever found, nor any clue as to where they might have gone. The story first gained widespread attention when it was reported in a 1930 article by Emmett E. Kelleher in the Danville Bee, which described the disappearance of 25 villagers. This tale was later picked up and embellished in various books and articles, some even linking the disappearance to paranormal activities or attributing it to extraterrestrial interference. However, subsequent investigations and reports have kind of cast a doubt on the veracity of the initial story. An internal report by the RCMP in January 1931, authored by Sergeant J. Nelson, suggested that there might have been exaggerations and factual inaccuracies in the original accounts. Nelson pointed out inconsistencies and questioned the reliability of Joe LaBelle's account. The RCMP eventually dismissed the story as an urban legend, suggesting that it was more fiction than fact. Also, researchers like Brian Denning of Skeptoid have critiqued the story, acknowledging the existence of the 1930 newspaper article while also recognizing the sensational nature of subsequent retellings. Tamam Shud Case. The Somerton Man mystery, which has intrigued both the public and investigators for decades, began with the discovery of an unidentified man's body on December 1st, 1948, on Somerton Beach near Adelaide, South Australia. This case has remained one of Australia's most enduring mysteries, added with various puzzling elements, including a cryptic note and a lack of personal identification. Basically, on the morning of his discovery, the Somerton Man was found lying against the seawall, dressed in a suit, but without any identification. His pockets contained an assortment of items, being unused train tickets, a pack of cigarettes containing a different brand than the package, and a piece of paper with the words Tamam Shud, meaning ended or finished in Persian. This scrap was later matched to a specific copy of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, which raised the question of whether the man's death was him taking his own life, given the thematic focus on endings and farewells in the poem. Investigators were able to trace the book from which the scrap had been torn though. It contained several intriguing clues, being a local telephone number, another unidentified number, and sequences of letters that appeared to be a code, which has never been deciphered. These discoveries only deepened the mystery, mainly as the book had indentations on the back cover that suggested that these writings had been made with some force, hinting at their possible significance.
Despite extensive investigations that included the examination of train and bus tickets, it seemed the man had traveled to Adelaide from somewhere, but his moments prior to death were uncertain. The autopsy did not conclusively determine a cause of death, but suggested that there was poisoning, although no traces of poison were found in his body. Interest in the case was rekindled when recent DNA analysis tentatively identified the Somerton man as Carl Charles Webb, an electrical engineer and instrument maker from Melbourne, though this has not been conclusively proven. This potential breakthrough, however, doesn't really explain why Webb would have been in Adelaide, why he died in such mysterious circumstances, or the significance of Damam Shud. Also, the ongoing investigations have explored the possibility that he might have been involved in espionage, given the historical context of the early Cold War period. His unknown activities, the undeciphered code, and his unclaimed suitcase found at Adelaide railway station, filled with clothes and tools, all contribute to the espionage theory. Kaz II. The Kaz II, often referred to as the Ghost Yacht, is a case that draws comparisons to the Mary Celeste that we talked about. This 9.8-meter catamaran was discovered adrift on April 20th, 2007, about 88 nautical miles off the northeastern coast of Australia, near the Great Barrier Reef. The yacht was found in a condition that suggested sudden abandonment by its three-man crew, all of whom were residents of Perth, Western Australia. Derek Batten, age 56, and brothers Peter Tunstead, age 69, and James Tunstead, age 63. Despite extensive investigations and search efforts, the fate of these men remain unsolved, leading a trail of speculation and theories in their wake. The departure of the Kaz II from Airlie Beach was on April 15, 2007, marking the beginning of what was intended to be a leisurely cruise around northern Australia, ending in Western Australia. The yacht was well equipped for such a voyage, with Derek Batten, the skipper, having completed a sailing course and undertaken 2 previous extended trips on Kaz II. Despite the crew's relative inexperience in open sea sailing, though, they were still prepared with the necessary safety and navigational equipment, and the boat was stocked for their journey. The first sign that something was amiss, though, came on April 18, when a helicopter pilot reported seeing the Kaz II drifting near the Great Barrier Reef, suggesting that the crew might be in distress. It was not until April 20th, though, that maritime authorities caught up with the drifting yacht. Upon boarding, they encountered a scene that suggested that the crew had vanished abruptly. The yacht's engine was still running, the table was set with food and flatware, and the laptop was open and turned on, and even all emergency systems were functional. Notably, the yacht's life jackets were all accounted for, and a small dinghy was still secured on the stern. The only abnormalities were a badly shredded sail and the absence of a life raft, though it was unclear if one had ever been on board. The forensic examination of Kaz II began immediately after it was towed to Townsville on April 20th. Investigators found the cabin neat and tidy, except for some items displaced during the tow, such as magazines and a wine cask on the floor. A thorough search revealed a firearm too and ammunition stored under Batten's bed, none of which appeared to be missing or used recently. Also, the boat's GPS system data indicated that Kaz II had veered northeast into rough seas shortly after departure, aligning with the onset of squalls. And a crucial piece of evidence came from a video recording made by James Tunstead on the morning of their disappearance. The footage showed calm and choppy conditions, with none of the men wearing life jackets, hinting at a relaxed atmosphere moments before they had vanished. The video captured the last known activities of the men, with Batten at the helm and Peter Tunstead fishing from the aft stairway. After the disappearance, the search and rescue operations were extensive, involving aircraft, Coast Guard, and various rescue units. Despite these efforts, the search was eventually called off on April 21st, with further attempts on April 23rd being unsuccessful. The official investigation, culminating in an inquest led by Queensland State Coroner Michael Barnes, concluded in August 2008 without definite answers. The inquest proposed a scenario in which a mishap occurred while retrieving a fishing lure entangled in the yacht's rudder, possibly causing one or more crew members to simply fall overboard. Efforts to rescue the overboard crew might have led to further accidents, including the possible knocking overboard of the remaining crew because of unexpected boat movements. Alternative theories about the disappearance range from sudden weather changes causing the men to go overboard to more speculative ideas involving collisions with unidentified vessels or even deliberate abandonment. However, without concrete evidence, these theories remain speculative. Ghost of Captain Kidd. The story of Captain Kidd's ghost guarding his treasure on an island off the shores of Pelham is an interesting piece of local folklore that has persisted through the years. William Kidd, better known as Captain Kidd, was a notorious pirate in the 17th century who was believed to have buried treasure on an island in Long Island Sound near Pelham. Despite numerous treasure hunts over the centuries, none have successfully recovered the pirate's alleged riches, and many have reported eerie encounters with his ghost. The legend suggests that Captain Kidd's spirit still haunts the island, protecting his hidden treasure. Over the years, various individuals and groups, driven by greed and curiosity, have ventured to the island in hopes of uncovering the loot. According to local stories, though, these treasure hunters have often been scared away by the sight of Captain Kidd's ghost, sometimes described as appearing with a drawn sword, guarding the treasures fiercely. One particularly detailed account involves an old treasure hunter who, after much effort and exploration of the island, believed he had finally located the spot where Kidd's treasure was buried. Just as he discovered a concealed cave-like area beneath two large boulders with a stack of loaded boxes that could potentially hold a treasure, he encountered the ghost of Captain Kidd. The apparition, glowing and wielding a saber, reportedly chased the treasure hunter away from the island, keeping the treasure undisturbed. This tale, like many other ghost stories, mixes historical facts with supernatural elements to basically create a narrative that has interested people for generations. The thing is, Captain Kidd really did exist and was tried and executed for piracy. His story became embroiled with myths of buried treasure along the northeastern coast of the United States, mainly in areas like Long Island Sound, which are known to be pirate haunts during the late 1600s. Hessdalen Lights. The Hessdalen Lights are a mysterious and unexplained phenomenon observed in the Hessdalen Valley in central Norway. These lights have been reported since the 1930s and appear both day and night throughout the valley, which spans about 12 kilometers. The lights manifest in various colors, being predominantly white, yellow, or red, and can last for a few seconds to over an hour. They may move at high speeds or drift gently, and sometimes they hover in midair. Significant interest in these lights peaked between December 1981 and mid-1984, with sightings occurring up to 20 times per week. By 2010, sightings had reduced to between 10 and 20 per year. The phenomenon has sparked a lot of investigations, starting with Project Hessdalen in 1983, initiated by UFO Norge and UFO Sinrich. Subsequent studies, such as the Hessdalen Automatic Measurement Station, set up in 1998, and the Envelope programs, have involved scientists and students, and have even been supported by institutions like Oswald University College and the Italian National Research Council. Various hypotheses have been proposed to explain the Hessdalen lights. Misidentifications of natural and man-made objects, such as astronomical bodies, aircraft, and car headlights, account for some sightings. Other theories suggest more complex natural processes, like lights being a form of plasma, or even possibly macroscopic column crystals that are forming. Lake Bodom Murders. On the early morning of June 5, 1960, in the surroundings of Lake Bodom near Espirusima, a violent tragedy unfolded that will leave 3 teenagers dead and 1 severely injured. The victims, Mela Imrali and Anja Dileki, both 15 years old, along with their boyfriends, Sebo and Taro Boisman and Nils Wilhelm Gustafsson, both 18, had set up camp along the shores of Lake Bodom. Their plan for a pleasant weekend camping trip turned disastrous when they were brutally attacked between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. The assault was notably vicious and frenzied, involving stabbing and blunt force trauma directly into their tent, indicating that the assailant attacked from outside without entering their temporary shelter. The aftermath of the attack was horrifying. By mid-morning, a passing carpenter discovered the gruesome scene, being the tent collapsed, the bodies of 3 teenagers lifeless with multiple wounds, and the 4th, Nils Gustafsson, badly injured but still alive. The police investigation that followed was fraught with errors, including a failure to secure the crime scene and inadequate collection of evidence, complicating the already complex task of solving the murders. In the wake of the murders, several suspects were considered. The most notable included Carl Valdemar Glastrom, a local kiosk owner known for his hostility towards campers, and Hans Assmann, who lived nearby and behaved suspiciously in the days following the murders. However, none of these people were conclusively linked to the crime due to the lack of hard evidence and credible alibis. Decades later, in a surprising turn of events, Niels Gustafsson himself was arrested in 2004 after new forensic analysis suggested his possible involvement. The subsequent 2005 trial, however, acquitted him due to insufficient evidence and procedural failings in the original investigation, leaving many questions unanswered and the public fascinated and horrified in equal measure. The Lake Bottom Murders has since inspired a lot of films, books, and music, including the name of the famous Finnish metal band Children of Bodom. They also continue to be a subject of true crime podcasts and documentaries, drawing new generations to the dark allure of this unsolved mystery. Sardinia sunk in Atlantis. The question of whether Sardinia might have been home to Atlantis has interested historians, archaeologists, and enthusiasts for years. This interesting narrative is rooted in a combination of historical text, geological events, and archaeological discoveries. The island of Sardinia has a rich history and numerous ancient ruins that offers a compelling case for such theories, especially considering the dramatic natural events that have shaped its landscape over millennia. Historical and mythological accounts, including those from Homer and Plato, suggest a cataclysmic event in the Mediterranean region that could align with the destruction of a significant civilization. Plato's narrative described a civilization being punished by Zeus for moral decay, which led to its ultimate destruction by natural disasters, possibly linking it to the mysterious and advanced society described in his works as Atlantis. Sergio Frau, a respected Italian journalist and historian, has spent over a decade investigating this hypothesis, supported by a variety of experts including geophysicists, historians, and archaeologists. Their explorations in Sardinia have focused on the analysis of the island's geography and numerous archaeological sites to uncover evidence of a major natural disaster like a tsunami or an earthquake. One of the focal points of the research has been the nuraghi, which are ancient megalithic edifices found throughout Sardinia. These structures, which are primarily built during the Middle Bronze Age, are characterized by their complex constructions, including central towers and surrounding village remnants. Notably, the Sunuraxi site at Brumini, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, exemplifies these characteristics and provides a lot of insights into the island's ancient inhabitants. The theory suggests that a comet striking close to the coast of Sardinia could have triggered a gigantic tidal wave, devastating the island's advanced civilizations. This hypothesis is supported by geological evidence of large-scale water movement and sediment deposits that suggest a sudden and violent inundation, which could be indicative of such an impact event. This catastrophic event might also explain the abrupt disappearance of the Tyrrhenian civilization noted in various ancient texts and could align with descriptions of Atlantis as sudden vanishing beneath the waves. The research team, including experts like Stefano Tinti, a geophysicist specializing in tidal waves, has analyzed sediment layers and geological formations across Sardinia, finding evidence consistent with massive flooding caused by tsunami. Also, the island's location in the central Mediterranean and its resources in metals and other valuable commodities make it a plausible candidate for a prosperous and influential ancient civilization like Atlantis would have been. The ancient texts, along with archaeological findings, suggest that Sardinia was a significant cultural and trading hub during the Bronze Age, which could have given rise to legends of a rich and powerful island nation, like Atlantis. Alright, Tier 2, Baltic Sea Anomaly. The Baltic Sea Anomaly refers to an indistinct sonar image captured by Peter Langberg, Dennis Asperg, and their team from Ocean X, a Swedish group of treasure hunters and salvage operators. This occurred during a 2011 expedition in the northern Baltic Sea, specifically in the center of the Gulf of Bothnia. The team, which was known for their explorations aimed at locating sunken treasures, stumbled upon this unusual sonar image while searching for an ancient shipwreck. The image revealed what appeared to be a 60-meter diameter circular object with distinct features that sparked various speculations about its origin, leading to widespread media attention and multiple theories regarding its nature. Following the initial discovery soon, the Ocean X team revisited the site in 2012 with the intent to obtain clearer sonar scans and further investigate the anomaly. This second expedition drew a lot of media coverage, mainly from tabloid sources, which fueled speculation and theories about the object's origin, including suggestions that it might be a sunken UFO. To analyze the nature of the anomaly more scientifically, samples of the stone were then retrieved from the site by Ocean X and given to Volker Burchard, an associate professor of geology at Stockholm University. Burchard's examination of these samples indicated they consisted primarily of granites, gneisses, and sandstones.
One particular sample was a piece of basaltic volcanic rock, which, while not unusual in itself, was somewhat out of place in the context of the seafloor's typical composition. Bouchard suggested that the features and rocks from the site likely have natural origins, though, formed through glacial and post-glacial processes typical of the northern Baltic region. These processes could involve the transportation of rocks and other materials by glaciers, depositing them in their current location. Critics of the sensational interpretations of the anomaly highlight the limitations of the sonar image though obtained by Ocean X. Experts such as Hanuman Singh from the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution pointed out that the sonar equipment used was of low quality and possibly misconfigured, leading to distortions in the image that make it unreliable for detailed analysis. Singh noted that several factors in the image acquisition and handling rendered it visually useless for accurately identifying underwater formations. And further skepticism arises from the analysis of other experts who examined the imagery and samples. These experts generally agree that the anomaly is likely a geological formation, such as a rock outcrop, possibly a glacial deposit, or even just a sediment accumulation. Charles Paul from the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute and other marine geologists also suggested that the anomaly might be some cluster of rocks or just a result of sediment displacement from fishing activities. HMS Daedalus Sea Serpent. HMS Daedalus was a British warship that launched on May 22, 1826, as a fifth-rate frigate of the modified Leda class, characterized by a full-rigged ship, sail plan, and armed initially with 46 guns. This setup included 28 18-pounder guns on the upper deck and several other guns on the forecastle and quarterdeck. Despite armament and robust build, HMS Daedalus never served in her original capacity as a frigate, but instead was laid up in reserve shortly after completion. After 18 years without active service, she underwent significant modifications at Woolwich Dockyard in 1844. These changes included being cut down to a corvette and reduced to a 19-gun configuration, which altered her role and capabilities a lot. In the subsequent years, HMS Daedalus served various roles, including as a training ship and finally as a drill ship for the Royal Naval Reserve at Bristol, where she remained until being decommissioned and sold for scraping in 1911. One of the most notable events in the ship's history, though, occurred on August 6, 1848, during a voyage to St. Helena. Captain McCoy and several of his officers and crew reported an extraordinary sighting of what they described as a sea serpent, marking one of the most famous rarely recorded encounters with such a creature by the Royal Navy. The sighting was reported as involving a large serpentine creature swimming with 4 feet of its head visible above the water surface, with an estimated additional 60 feet submerged. The creature was described as having a dark brown skin and yellowish white throat, moving at a significant speed. The sighting lasted about 20 minutes and was detailed enough that Captain McCoy remarked he could have recognized its features had it been a man he knew. This event stirred a lot of interest and debate, especially since it was from the Navy. Various theories were proposed about the nature of the creature, ranging from an unknown species of giant sea serpent to more skeptical interpretations suggesting misidentification of known marine animals like whales. In 2015, evolutionary biologist Gary J. Galbraith speculated that the creature sighted might have been a sei whale, arguing that the features described in historical accounts could be attributed to a setting of a known animal rather than an unknown marine monster. Persian Gulf ruins. The mysterious ruins lying at the bottom of the Persian Gulf present an interesting narrative, one that challenges our traditional understanding of ancient civilizations. Ellen Lloyd from AncientPages.com highlights a really cool hypothesis that suggests that these submerged structures might be remnants of some of the world's earliest civilizations, possibly even predating both the ancient Egyptians and the Sumerians. These underwater ruins, discovered in regions that are now submerged beneath the Persian Gulf, were part of a prosperous Neolithic population thriving around 5500 BC. This civilization was engaged in fishing, cultivating dates, and practicing animal husbandry, indicative of a well-developed societal structure. What makes these findings particularly significant, though, is the sophistication of the stone structures and artifacts found at these sites, which imply a high level of architectural and cultural development. Jeffrey Rose of Birmingham University suggests that these underwater settlements could be connected to the mythical Dilmun, a land mentioned in Sumerian texts. This This ancient kingdom is speculated to have been a vital commercial hub that flourished around 2000 BC, often associated with the island of Bahrain, but never confirmed. Rome suggests that the relocation of Dilmun might have been this now submerged area of the Persian Gulf, potentially linking it to the biblical Garden of Eden. Discovering these sites is not merely about locating physical structures, though, but more about piecing together the narrative of human civilization. The Persian Gulf Oasis, as it was termed, may have been home to humans for upwards of 100,000 years before being swallowed by rising sea levels. This scenario suggests a significant rethinking of migrational patterns and cultural development in ancient times. Rose's research indicates that these areas were not just peripheral outposts, but central to the dispersion of the Ubaid culture, which is known for its unique pottery and is traditionally associated with southern Mesopotamia. The presence of Ubaid artifacts in these underwater sites suggests a widespread cultural exchange and possibly a migrational pattern prompted by climatic shifts and rising sea levels. The Octavius ghost ship. The Octavius is an 18th century ghost ship that has interested many because of its mysterious legend. According to lore, the Octavius was discovered adrift west of Greenland by the whaler Harold on October 11, 1775. The discovery revealed a haunting scene, being that the entire crew of 28 was found frozen and perfectly preserved below deck, including the captain who was found sitting at his table, pen in hand, as if he had been writing in the logbook at the moment of his death. Octavius had reportedly left England for the Orient in 1761 and successfully made its journey, arriving in 1762. The captain, who was hoping to expedite the return journey, decided to navigate through the Northwest Passage. This decision proved disastrous as the ship became trapped in the ice north of Alaska, effectively sealing the fate of the crew and the vessel. The last log entry dated November 11, 1762, indicating that the ship had been frozen for 13 years before its discovery. This story, though, while interesting, shares a lot of elements with other maritime ghost stories, like that of the schooner Jenny, which was similarly found with its crew frozen. Over the years, the story of the Octavius has been retold with various modifications, like in early versions where the ship was named the Gloriana and did not mention the Northwest Passage. The earliest known account dates back to 1828 in a Philadelphia newspaper, where, again, the ship remains unnamed and does not mention the fabled passage. The vanishing of the SS Poet. The SS Poet was originally built as a C-4 class military troop carrier named General Omar Bundy in 1944, and